This is peak Overwatch.
Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, what you've all been waiting for.
And now it's go time.
Here we go.
Bloody hands, my eyes wide, I got one chance. No sleep till I'm enhanced. Fight hard to keep my stance. Knuckle up, time to buckle up. I got one shot and I won't stop. One goal for the joyride. I'm a champion. Move aside.
Oh, okay.
Are you kidding me?
Taking over the game.
What am I watching? They might just be doing it.
He's a god. He's a god.
Yeah.
Full force, I'm unleashed, so don't speak. Grandmaster, don't sleep. Victory, it tastes so sweet. Knuckle up, time to buckle up. I got one shot and I won't stop. One goal for the joyride. I'm a champion. Move aside. Let's go.
What up, Overwatch League fans? We are back, and I am back actually this time. All the issues have been sorted, hopefully, fingers crossed for this evening, but I'm joined, of course, once again by the lovely Vicky Kitty. We're about to get into day number 2 of week 2 of the APAC matches. I'm excited, you're excited, I'm sure, and Vicky,
oh yeah,
someone in this first series is going to get their first win today.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how this plays out with between these 4 teams that we're going to be seeing today within the APAC region. Jaws, I know we were talking about it earlier, actually yesterday before you dropped, but that second match I got my eyes out for between the Hunters and the Fusions. And, you know, but that's not going to be the first match we're going to be covering for today. The first match, actually, that we're bringing to you guys is going to be the Hangzhou Spark versus the New York Excelsior.
Yeah, and like I said, first win on the board for one of the teams today. The Spark didn't have the most glamorous showing yesterday, and neither did the NYXL. They haven't actually taken a map thus far in the season, but it is very, very early days. But you can rep your favorite teams, of course, if you go to overwatchleague.com/team-shops, and you can have a little browse of the merchandise. A lot of the teams there have got, and I'm sure there are a lot of new fans of different teams this year, specifically maybe the Hunters, who are coming up a little later on. I think they've garnered more fans this year, with considering how well they've been doing.
Yeah, you know, if you want to rep your favorite team, make sure to check out the Overwatch League website and check out the merch store so that way you guys could be at home repping those jerseys, repping your favorite player number, and you know what? Be able to show us on social media what your jerseys look like. It's going to be really excited to see how this plays out, though, especially looking at the Hunters, Jaws. I'm personally a really big fan now.
Oh, yes. But let's talk about our first match of the day. Of course, it is the Spark versus the NYXL. And someone on the NYXL who's been around for a little bit longer than a lot of the others, actually, has been Ivy, previous of the Toronto Defiant, alongside Yukpung as well. And his May has been pretty damn good. I mean, look at those stats across the board.
Oh,
and
yeah.
with May's damage numbers, you're not really looking at May doing the most damage in this kind of composition. She's there to freeze people up. She's there to wall, more importantly, wall the tanks off so your tanks can engage and then do the most damage. But 6K leading the league currently in damage done and fewest deaths. But the most important stat there, Vicky, is the Blizzard kills. Tied third place, 4.6 per 10. That is a crazy stat. A lot of high value from his Blizzards.
Yeah, honestly, when I take a look at Ivy, I feel like he's one of those players that kind of fly under the radar, and he's been able to stand out as a player on every team that signed him. So overall, looking at Ivy and how he's going to perform on this May, you know, the whole point is being able to control a lot of that space with the Blizzard. You know, you may not be doing a lot of damage overall, but being able to hit every ice gold and charge up into that Blizzard is going to really make a difference into these control points.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's probably why he's got the highest damage currently of any Maze, right? And then he's able to transform those into Blizzards, of course. Let's have a look at the lineup for the NYXL, though. Of course, it's going to be the same roster we have seen yesterday, and they do need to claim this map, or at least a series win, man. It must be demoralizing, Vicky, let's be real, not being able to claim a single map in your first series of the brand new season. We do have Ivy, of course, Flora, Yukpung, Bianca, and Jonak on Friday. A lot of rookie players on the team that has been kind of spearheaded here by Jonak, the veteran who has been around NYXL since the very beginning, all the way back 3 years ago. So it's up to him to really kind of lead and mentor the team, it does feel. But like you were saying, Ivy has been a little bit of a standout performer, but can they perform against the Spark today? That is all up to question.
And they need to, honestly. After their performance yesterday, although the Hunters have been on a roll, you take a look at the NYXL, that was their first debut match versus the Hunters, and it just did not go according to plan. It could honestly be that this team is still trying to find their footing so early in the season, and, you know, being led by Jonak is going to be a big deal to pay attention to, you know, former MVP and mainstay of the team, to kind of guide and help allow the NYXL to actually figure out what they need to iron out in their play, because yesterday honestly just was not it.
Yeah, let's have a look at the Spark starters though, who they'll be facing off against. Pretty in pink, one of my favorite color schemes in the league, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
The light blue and the pink, it looks, yeah, pretty damn snazzy. Architect, Godsby, of course, Gushui, Bernard, IDK, and MCD. And we talked a little bit yesterday about the rotating tanks, and me thinking, you know, they run Gushui on all these kind of dive-orientated maps, the double bubble. It wasn't really the case, in fact. We did see them go on Gibraltar and sub in Takayaki. Of course, they didn't end up getting the series win, of course, and it feels like a little bit more of an experiment there, because Gushui, definitely one of the strongest Winstons we have in the Overwatch League. Maybe that's changed in the off-season, I'm not entirely sure, and only time will tell, of course, as this is their Sparks, the second match of the season. Yeah, I'm excited, honestly, because not only do we get to see mad flexibility from Architect, but again, a lot of brand new players into the league on the NYXL. We are heading to Busan as our first map, Vicky.
Yeah, I actually really like the fact that you brought up Gushui. You know, this was a player I was definitely looking out for. I would say he's one of the best Winstons on the league. And when I pay attention to Gushui and how they brought in Takoyaki, it was interesting to see if they were trying to work together to figure out some sort of synergy based off of Takoyaki's play. But, you know, that was yesterday. This is today. This is going to be a different team that we have our eyes set out for. Hopefully they were able to figure something out after yesterday, and we're already getting started.
Oh yes, we are. TP's forward, Godspeed surging over to the Tracer, Ivy doing the same. A little bit of a different comp here with Bianca actually opting for the Sigma rather than something a little bit more divey like Bernard has on the Diva. Architect's going to be a big problem here for the rest of the NYXL, because you can hide pretty easily on Busan, especially if you're hiding around this mega health pack, and if your ball is controlling that as well, it's almost impossible to kind of get an angle on Architect. You have to expose yourself before anything happens. Point is going to unlock Vicky, and Yukpung's trying to contest now against the Sports.
Yeah, Yukpun already trying to tack on some of this pressure on the backlines, is going to be able to rotate out of that. And, you know, Architect being able to utilize that verticality that the map provides is going to be a big deal. But with MCD falling down first, Yukpung now is going to be able to get aggressive. It just leaves it up to IDK, who is going to be falling down, and that sustainability for the Spark is slowly diminishing before their eyes. They may want to respect that as the NYXL, they take the point first.
Yeah, slow rotations from the NYXL, but just having the ball to touch there to actually contest is almost perfect, and then slowly but surely Bianca and the rest of the team can rotate towards the point. That was a very, very, very good pick onto MCD, almost the perfect one, right? That's the Discord orb you've got to not really worry about, and then you also have the Brigitte who's alone. You can't really heal yourself very well either if you're the Brig. You have to rely on your whip shots to hit somebody, because no one's really going to come near you, if I'm all honest. Point, of course, now on NYXL's favor, and now it's up to Architect to find these funky angles against Flora. Bianca's going to be at his back more often than not. You're looking at like two small fights happening. One in this mega health pack room where Flora's trying to duck, dip, dive, and dodge away from Architect, and then the ball's just trying to go at each other.
Yeah, Gushui creating chaos. Bernard's out of the mech right now, and the pulse bomb stick onto Jonak, but Yukpung coming in with the retaliation. He completely eliminates Gushui Bernard, and the follow-up already, the NYXL, despite losing that member at the very beginning of the fight with Jonak. Oh,
are you serious? Flora just missed 3 or 4 shots on a dynamite on the floor to try and kill Godsby, and now he's just spawn camping. Luckily, Yukpung is going to be there to save him. Are they actually going to be able to find a kill on Godsby? Okay, they do manage to chase him down in the end. But NYXL still holding the point firm, Vicky, and they're nearing Transcendence, they're nearing the Flux, the Bob, the Pulse. Like, this is a really good position for NYXL to be in here. Just protect the President in Jonak, and yeah, he's going to pay dividends a little bit later on. Ivy looking for a Pulse Bomb, though.
Yeah, it was a good trade that they wanted right there. The Gravitic Flux now coming alive, and the Pulse Bomb coming in. Now everybody is spawned over to the side room, but the Transcendence from Jonak is going to help NYXL stay in this fight. The rally to match that, but with Architect falling down first and MCD to follow him, the rally may not be enough here as Benar is going to get demexed and they're going to get sent back to the spawn. NYXL, though, they're already being able to contest this point. Is there anybody here to try to retake it? They are going to be able to move right back in, but I like this positioning right now that we're seeing from Godsby. He gets stunned and immediately deleted, and that's the problem when you're playing Tracer. You have to face off against Friday on the Brigida. NYSL, they're looking fantastic, and those adjustments that we mentioned, Jaws, are now coming out in full force.
Wow, absolutely crunched. That was a little bit of a beating that the Spark took there. Nice little rotation to kind of cap, but then the NYXL, like I mentioned before, are able to kind of move this small unit using the Sigma Shield and Zenyatta, of course, and Friday just being almost like a, I want to say bastion, but I don't mean, of course, the hero, just this small movable castle that travels across the map very slowly, but very efficiently. It's very tough for Architect to really do anything. You got the, if you had the point advantage, like I mentioned before, you're able to force people to come to you, right? You force people to go in these choke points. It's very easy to land your AoE if you're the Echo, and it's much harder for a hit scan, long-range hit scan DPS to get angles on you. But if you don't control the point, you saw Architect didn't really have much impact on that Echo pick at all. He got one copy off and didn't manage to even build up a flux when he copied the Sigma. We're going on to Sanctuary though, same kind of compositions. Actually saying that, they're actually swapped roles almost. Benar's switching from the D.Va, he's on the Sigma, and Bianca is playing the D.Va now. A little bit more dive-centric though, as they do have the Sombra at 2.
Yeah, they're gonna be able to build into some of those EMPs, and Yakung already gets annihilated. All right, Guchui making a statement right here, but they traded for Benar, and that's actually gonna be a 1-for-1 deal. You can already see as they do rotate right back onto this point to reclaim it first. The Spark, they're able to suppress NYXL, but for how long here, Jaws? As you can already see the NYXL getting into position, rotating right now to contest the Spark, and overall, they are going to be able to take the point first. Yeah,
the onus now is on the Spark to jump on the back line because there's a lot less protection. Yeah, you've got the D.Va Matrix, but you aren't going to be able to have the permanent Sigma Shield. MCD and Jonah do end up getting traded as a mech goes down for Bianca as well. Ivy's trying to do the damage, but all they need to do is really defend the point currently, right? You just need to stall for as long as possible.
It's so difficult too, and you have Jonak falling in. It's up to Friday to help that sustainability, and it's just not enough right there. Immediately Friday goes down right after Jonak, and Spark, they finally claim this point right here, at least trying to extend some sort of lead as the NYXL. They're getting a little bit of momentum here right at 23%.
That was so lucky.
The fact that he hit him out of it too.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Guchui was spy checking that whole time, and then he accidentally rolls into him to discover Flora. Nearing the EMP though, this is going to be rather deadly. You can just jump, even just catching one person here on the Spark side is perfect. Ideally, it is MCD and Guchui, one of those two to just blow them up. That's a perfect EMP. Flora's 10% away, and already you can see Ivy pressuring the point with Pulse.
Yeah, he has it at the ready. He's trying to find that perfect opportunity. I like the disengage, though, that we're seeing from the Spark and the NYXL. They're getting pretty confident right here. Now trying to help out Ivy. Yeah, Pung comes in, and yeah, the EMP is online. Take your eyes on Floor. He's on the back line, and here he goes.
He misses.
Utilizing the EMP, and he gets both support, but they immediately shut him down. The way that Godsby was able to react to that, and now Architect getting that pulse pick off of Jonak. That's 2 members down for the NYXL, and now the Spark, they're going to be able to hold that advantage and send the NYXL back.
He mismeasured completely there, Vicky. Flora only hit IDK. He missed MCD completely. He was sitting on the edge of that EMP. Those shields weren't depleted. He couldn't get taken out. And like you said, instant turnaround from Godsby. Perfect reactions, managed to kill him off. And now Flora switching over to the Ashe instead to try and match Godsby in the 1v1. Rally and Transcendence available for the Spark, 75% and building 2. This is looking a rather sorry state. Ivy's going to have to make this pulse bomb big. It's either waiting for the rally from IDK or trying to force the Transcendence out by attaching that pulse to MCD. That's the name of the game here.
Oh, and Yakpon has the minefield as well. You can already see him trying to get into position, disrupting the piece, but Spark already are rotating onto the point. He's on the back lines, though. He's trying to isolate them, trying to utilize the minefields to block their approach to get onto the point here. Take a look at Ivy's pulse bomb. He gets immediately deleted by Godsby again. The consistency on Godsby's headshots. He's been clicking it. But no, it's touching. What? They were right there. They were dancing around it.
They were actually on the pillar.
What? Why does this keep happening?
I don't know. What is it with Apex games? A little bit of C9 action. Okay, I mean, they were on the pillar, like you said, dancing around it, and it looked like maybe they thought they touched in time, but well, you know, apparently not. There wasn't even a D.Va bomb. It was the very end. The D.Va launched the bomb up to try and scatter everybody, but they could have had a touch there. At least the wrecking ball getting onto the point. Oh man. Okay, NYXL, yeah. Point control on point for the first map. This one. The last one, sorry, not so much. Maybe it works out a little bit better in their favor this time. Rush is the name of the game here, of course, with it being a mecha base, a TP forward for the Spark. Running Rush versus, yet again, running the dive. However, setting up on this high ground super far away with Floor on Friday, it's going to be a fairly easy rotation if the Spark choose to do so. They have got speed boost, of course, and NYXL lack the Lucio, so Flora's going to have to play extra careful. Already getting completely chunked out. Friday's not on top of him currently. I believe he's just healing someone else. Jonak's even half HP too, so not really much damage they're throwing out currently. It's actually the Brawl comp from range that's doing a little bit more.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Seeing that Flora is going to have that pocket from Friday and to deal a lot of that damage, wants to make sure that they could burn through Gushui's shield. I'd be getting out of that situation. Flora taking a lot of that damage, but at least to build up into that nano boost, yeah, at least the point right now is going to get respected. NYXL get out of it as the Spark try to make their way over. Gushui taking so much of that damage as he does drop down, and they annihilate him from Flora to clean that up. And now the number advantage and big ante onto IDK and Gods. Bernard took so much of that damage, he gets demech'd afterwards. And the Spark, they're at that disadvantage with the NYXL now taking the point first.
Yeah, that was super nice from NYXL. They took basically 3 angles against Gushui there, setting of course up on the high ground with the Ashe and the damage boost, and then Yukfun and Bianca can come in from the sides, and then Ivy as well, just kind of harassing him too. They forced Lamp out super early, and it was only Gushui that dropped first. Bernard and Architect did end up dropping as well, but it was a little bit too late. IDK goes extremely low after an anti-hitting, as the High Noon is used by Godspeed to try and clear some space, but they're not really making use of that at all. They didn't even speed boost Godspeed out of this high ground, but they're going to have to stop Yukfun just blowing them up. He does end up getting hacked. Architect now changing from the May over to the Sombra as the window gets opened up, and the EMP is huge.
The EMP not only negating the Ant Matrix, but also now the NYXL, they're moving right on the point. They find 3 picks. Flora's down, but it doesn't matter. They still have the advantage, finding 3 members of Spark. Bernard's going to meet up with them. They're just going to wait Bernard to stagger. Quite unfortunate, but nothing you could do here. I mean, on NYXL, they want to expand that lead here, Jaws, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Nice, nice, nice. That was a perfect pick. Perfect nade too from Jonak. EMP hit Gushui and MCD. Can use Immortality Field. Can use his shift to heal himself. And yeah, you're as good as dead as soon as that anti-nade lands on top of you. Very, very nicely executed. Now they're looking at the self-destruct and the mines, but Bernard's got one of his own. Architect's been pretty slow building up towards the CMP, but he did change from the May, so there is a reason why he's so far behind. But Ivy right now is only 20% away from almost lapping him at this point, which is very worrying if you're a Spark fan right now.
Yeah, especially, IDK at least does have that sound barrier coming online very soon. The D.Va bomb,
wow,
oh my gosh, Gushui, that actually landed almost behind him right there. And the sound barrier to keep them alive, but I'm worried here, Jaws. Ivy is slowly reaching that EMP soon. Architect as well, and now Godspeed gonna be able to utilize the Deadeye. Oh, he's gone. He's out of this fight, and that just leaves IDK for the sustainability, but Godspeed finds Yakung, and that's a great trade at least, but Overtime is alive, and the Spark need to stay on this point to at least try to contest it, at least try to flip this for the first point and the first time in the round. Now being able to have that EMP online from Ivy, they do manage to demech Bernard and finding 2, the EMP coming in, and now here comes Ivy. They completely not only negate Gushui and his shatter, but the NYXL, they gave that point very briefly to the Spark, and they may want to get in some respect. Oh, the Avengers should just try to contest Flora on the high ground. I like the way that NYXL is playing this, though. They're very spread out, and they're purposely splitting the attention from Spark.
I don't know how IDK got the kill onto Jono there. I think Friday was potentially rezzing, just looking at the kill feed. EMPs were lapped, by the way. Ivy did manage to get one before Architect get his, but Architect used his first. Flora is just immortal on this high ground too, just taking pot shots at the front line. Gushui manages to maybe find the flip again, just needs to push the Sombra off the point, and he does find the flip. Somehow, the NYXL winning in terms of kills, but the point control is still remaining in Sparks. It's flipped either way, at least twice at this point. Flora's going to have the Bob online pretty soon, but now, actually, the Spark are in a pretty good spot. They're able to now group up as 6. It didn't matter if MCD died at the start of the first fight, because now just NYXL just slacking just a little bit.
And they do have that Bob that you were talking about here, Jaws. Architect, though, finds that first pick off of Ivy. Actually going to be difficult here to build into that EMP, but now the Nano Boost coming alive. Jonak trying to keep the rest of NYXL sustained here, and the Bob is going to be able to take care of Godspeed. Flora popping off, quick little 3K over to the side. You see the way he's been able to try to melt down Gushue's shield. Gushue forced to get back onto the point. Overtime is taken away, and Spark, unfortunately, no one left to touch this point. NYXL, they take the first map.
Man, that was such a confusing last, like, 60 seconds to 2 minutes. That was very strange.
Yeah, it was going back and forth.
Yeah, Spark lost MCD like super early as well in the second to last fight there, and you're like, okay, well now only IDK remains. That's pretty easy, especially if someone like Flora could just sit all the way back and just shoot people with damage boost. And then Gushue manages to cap, and then NYXL get the recap, and then Spark cap again as 6 people, and then that was very confusing. I mean, it was real. I think there was just a lack of focus there from NYXL. However, they do end up taking the map at least. Their first map win as well of the 2021 season. You got to be happy about that, Vicky.
Yeah, baby steps here, Jaws, and that's how everything starts going. Once you get the ball moving, you want to keep it moving. In the NYXL now taking that first map, we could very much see that within the series between the Spark, although you made a mention of that last fight that we saw was extremely chaotic, honestly. I feel like it was the fact that the split attention wasn't really fixated on being able to focus. They found these picks, but unfortunately, they were kind of displaced and discombobulated. But now you look at the way the Spark has made some of those adjustments, and I like the way they're looking today, especially. We're going to see what map we're going to next on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. We currently have the Spark versus the NYXL, with the NYXL leading in the series.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back. The NYXL are currently up 1-0 versus the Spark. That first map, though, going a little bit back and forth between the action, right, Jaws?
Yeah, a little bit back and forwards. We did say just before the break, that last fight, a little bit confusing. Flips either way, just constantly. I'm like, is this map ever going to end? I don't know. NYXL did end up taking it, however, with their first map win of the season 2. Not bad at all. And I want to touch on something that we talked about a little bit earlier on about how the roster has been retooled. And it's interesting to look at the different variations NYXL have been running in terms of their players over the last few years. Jonak has always been almost the focal point, the center of attention for the NYXL. Every kind of comp was focused around him to make sure he can succeed. And with a bunch of new rookies, being able to slot yourself into that team as being a support the Jonak kind of player, I think can be sometimes detrimental to how a player wants to play. Maybe they come in and they're just a flashy DPS that likes to play solo. Someone like Shax of sorts, who likes to just be this solo villain in your backline, just killing the enemy supports. And fitting into that team as that kind of player is not really aiding to what NYXL have previously been. So I wonder if they're going to kind of mold them into that, or Jonak in a way has kind of shifted his style and the team structure has changed a little bit there. It seems a little bit less Jonak orientated this year for sure, and with a lot of rookies coming in too, with rookies still on their bench as well, mind you, Guangbong being one specifically that I want to see eventually played. It's an exciting year for the NYXL, that is for sure. Of course, now the Spark, as we go into Havana as our next map, they need to find a little something here, Vicky.
Yeah, I would like to see something to change up here. I mean, Gushue was looking fantastic. He was doing a good job at splitting a lot of the attention on the ground, whereas Architect in that first round was on that Echo and actually utilizing the terrain so that way they could attack for the back line while being rather safely. And then at the same time, though, the NYXL was kind of doing something similar, whereas Flora on the hit scan with the Ashe was actually tacking on a lot of pressure, whereas the fixated attention was not only on Ivy, but also on Yakpeng and Bianca. So now looking at the next map that we're going to now, Jaws, what changes would you like to see from the Spark going forward? I mean, it was kind of going back and forth for that first map a little bit, but the NYXL still at the end seemed a lot more coordinated than the Spark.
Oh yes, indeedy. I want to see a little bit more brawl from the Spark. Maybe a little bit of dive too, if they're on the offense. That wouldn't go amiss. Some double bobble action, even with this Widowmaker in there as well. The streets of Havana, very deadly and very famous for how you can run basically any kind of DPS with long-range hit scan, like you can run the Ashe with a damage boost, you can run the Widowmaker. Hanzo is pretty good here as well. Double Sniper is the aim of the game normally when it comes to this map. Of course, with the changes to a lot of characters, and Batiste being a very, very strong, Brawl is exceptionally good here as well for forward holds, and it does look like they're doing just that. With MCD playing the Moira, fairly interesting. I think this is really just to gain the coalescence fast, but Batiste is so strong that I am questioning why he is playing the Moira here. As soon as they force the fade, you're going to die pretty quickly. I gotta say it's just for the coal here.
Yeah, the double Maywall coming in too. Yeah, I definitely agree. The coalescence to at least get it quickly, so that way, yeah, they could at least back up. You currently have Friday and IDK on the Lucio, so that way the fast rotations could go in. Brave Flash coming forward, but the Immortality Field and Gushue taking so much of that damage. He gets cleaned up first, and that's going to follow up by the rest of Spark. They may want to go for a reset here because the NYXL is already off to a strong foot.
Yeah, Yakpeng with 5, alright, give him the 6. Okay, but they're just going to stagger the Baby Diva, of course, but he's got to secure this kill, surely. Oh, they're freezing him too. That sucks if you are Bernard. Friday finished him off with a little boot there. I said they wanted to build up a fast coalescence. Yeah, Batiste AoE healing, it's pretty good. If anybody's ever played Batiste, I'm sure you have. Shift and then right click. Wow, look at that. 75% ult charge, you know. It's pretty quick. I'd be going down fairly early though as Architect dings him in the head.
Yep, that's an ice goal that you don't want served up on your ice cream here. No freezer burn, and instead NYXL, though, they're going to respect a bit of Spark, but the Ant Matrix is now going to be able to not only buy in some space, but tack on some of that pressure. The wall to negate that in the Immortality Field. Jonak doing this, the juicy Jonak plays that we are so used to seeing. Coalescence now coming alive from MCD to keep the rest of Spark alive and to allow this engagement to be successful here. They do find Yakpeng, and the NYXL may want to give this respect over to the Spark as they control that corner and this alleyway.
Yeah, that was a super nice freeze from Architect there. There was no way Yakpeng was going to go down to that Cole alone. They needed assistance for that. That's why Moira is not like crazy good either. There's a lot of AoE healing when it comes to Bap and the Lucio. Cole is not really doing all of anything. There's the High Noon, there's the Blizzard right behind the wall to try and freeze someone up. Self-destruct gets launched out as well.
Yeah, was being cautious right there. Ivy wanted to make sure that they could utilize that Blizzard without Bernard actually taking that in, and Flora finding Gushue, the sound barrier, to keep Spark alive. It may be too late right here, though, Jaws. Bernard taking not only so much of that damage, but being able to survive and getting out of that situation. Gushue will be able to try to come back and meet up with the rest of Spark, but NYXL now, they're trying to utilize this speed boost from Friday so that way they could potentially take the Spark, but I love the disengage from Spark, realizing the situation.
Yeah, they want to be able to back up as quickly as they can, like here. Spark, of course, taking the high ground, but the window is going to force them to make an attempt at doing something. A water lift, Flora up, he gets instantly killed by the Coalescence.
That could have gone terribly wrong right there. Flora had a line of sight, but, you know, he actually fell him. MCD actually reacting with that Coalescence to take him out, burn him out of the fight. Jonak is going to meet him in the spawn, and Yapeng now going to be able to retaliate with a Shatter and finds Gushwei. The follow between Yapeng and Bianca is extreme, not only creating a lot of that space to wait out for the rest of NYXL to meet up with the team, but Godspeed now creating that space himself with the Deadeye, but it's to no avail here. Jaws Flora now finding IDK and the Spark. They may want to respect the NYXL.
Yeah, although Spark do actually lose that fight, Bernard was doing an exceptional job there of trying mitigating Jonak's healing by sitting on top of him using that defense matrix so Jonak can launch out those right clicks. But like you mentioned, Yapeng with the Shatter instantly killed off Gushwei, so that was a one fight for them. Although Bernard doing a lot of the heavy lifting in that fight, he was rather unsuccessful. Ivy's going to be able to run in with Blizzard now, but Architect's closing in one of his own two. This wall into Blizzard combo is so nice because you can't defense matrix past that wall. They're potentially trying to do it again, but instantly you see there Bernard reacting, trying to get the defense matrix over the wall by landing on top of it.
Oh, they booped him, but he still was able to utilize the Blizzard, and a Blizzard for a Blizzard now to try to contest here. The Immortality Field actually helps keep Yapeng in this fight, as well as the wall coming in, the Shatter as well, but not finding anyone, and now the Diva Bomb to go right over the May Wall. They gotta be able to shield it, but they still find Friday in the back. Unfortunate placement right there from Friday. The Ant Matrix now to control this high ground, and that was the battle for the high ground between both these teams. They want to make sure they had that position advantage, and also to try to find some of those picks to build into those ultimates.
Yeah, support, by the way, is Jonak is just laser beaming everybody down. Like, there's nothing much you could do when he's sitting behind a window, just shredding shields, shredding health bars. Architect and Ivy do both throw in their Blizzards, but yeah, like you mentioned, didn't really get anything. They were able to either speed boost away or use the Immortality Field around a corner so it couldn't be killed, and then Yapeng and Gushwei were able to back off. Very close they are to the second point, though, as the next engage comes in.
Now the Ant Matrix, though, coming in from MCD, being able to find that window and opening to the door. The Sound Barrier coming alive from NYXL to allow the engage here. The way that IDK, though, was able to retaliate with Sound Barrier themselves, and the pin onto Jonak. Trading that, though, they've lost Gushwei from Flora's Deadeye. They need to stay on the point, or else they do contest it. They contested it right on time here, but the Blizzard is going to be able to create some of that space. They're dropping down one by one, and the Spark, they're finding trades, but the NYXL have that number advantage in their favor.
Wow, that's so nice. Even Jonak dying there didn't really mean a whole bunch because Ivy had his Blizzard. They just back off from the high ground. They're like, okay, that's fair enough. You can fight us and maybe kill us up there, but if we back up, use the Blizzard on point, you then have to insert yourself in the Blizzard, you're going to get frozen, and we're going to kill you real fast. Especially as Flora was holding the Deadeye for so long as well. It was really up to the Spark to make their move, but it was almost a lose-lose situation. You jump into the Blizzard, die from Blizzard killing you, or jump into that Deadeye and just get your head blown clean off. Godsby on the Widowmaker now to try and contest from super long range. I want to see if they're going to switch over someone else to the Widow from for the NYXL. I can imagine maybe Flora jumping on that because Gushwei is going to be a nightmare to deal with.
Yeah, you see Godsby now on the Widow. Yeah, Godsby on the Widow. Yeah, Jonak actually falls through first, and he had the Ant Matrix at the same time. Immortality won't be in that fight, but it doesn't even matter here. NYXL, they're still pushing this advantage to find two on the DPS lineup of the Spark. Although finding the number advantage going in favor of Spark, they will be able to come right back in with some ultimates of themselves, but Architect had actually utilized his ultimate right there, and unfortunately he isn't going to be able to have it before Ivy here, and that could mean a lot considering the fact that we saw how they were able to utilize that Blizzard before, controlling that space. A window to the soul to stare at each other, though, and the ultimate economy coming forward.
Oh, he dies again.
Can Jonak have fun? He has not been able to actually be with the rest of NYXL after they were able to catch that point B. Flora now finds IDK, and the Shatter coming alive from Gushwei. IDK is gone, though, and Gushwei is taking a lot of that damage. That leaves it up to MCD for that sustainability, and it's not going to be enough if the NYXL now have Friday's Sound Barrier to be able to hold aggressively forward.
Yeah, they don't need Jonak to win these fights apparently at all. They're able to just survive with the Lucio healing somehow. Jonak can fire a couple of right clicks from down range, but him dying first time, 3 fights in a row, pretty devastating. And something I harked on a little bit earlier, but I'll talk about that in a bit later. Deadeye Going to zone people out. The wall is there as well, and yeah, good luck. They're just going to push it in. Okay, there you go. Bernard couldn't do anything, and what was holding it at the door? Oh yeah, Blizzard. You can't move.
And
Who was on the other door? Godsby trying to find an off angle. So who's really going to touch there, huh? I mean, Godsby throws himself with the payload and dies, or you get met by a Blizzard. Again, another lose-lose situation in that sense. This is what I was talking about at the start of the series here, Vicky, is having a bunch of rookies come in and join an NYXL team, which is more often than not been kind of centered around Jonak, and with him dying first up more often than not, I'm like, oh man. One, having the majority of your healing coming out from the Batiste, him dying first, pretty bad. And then also it being Jonak too, you're thinking, okay, they kind of lose this fight, right? But a lot of the time, Yukpeng and Guxue, they are the people to kind of duel it out in each other's backlines and just kind of running in opposite directions. They kind of just want, okay, I'm just going to press W, I'm going to run at your supports. If they die, hey, we might win the fight. Guxue's kind of doing the same thing, but Yukpeng, more often than not, is coming out on top. They're just kind of letting him roam free almost.
I actually love the fact that you brought up Yukpeng and Guxue, because it was kind of like the way that they would brawl out against each other, just not only creating space, but also trying to prioritize position to allow the rest of their team to make their way and give it some of that support. It was Unga Bunga. I saw both these tanks. Yeah, both these tanks were making sure that they could make a statement with just some power plays going forward. But you know, Spark, they're on the attack this time around, and NYXL, they're already getting set up in position.
Yeah, okay. Thankfully, NYXL aren't playing the Moira on the defense here. On the offense, sorry, the forward hold. Thank goodness. Godsby's going to be able to take a nice side angle. If you're ever a support, by the way, you just hold up on that high ground real quick. It does you wonders, especially if your Batiste getting some nice angles. Speaking of angles, Godsby angled to put it right through Flora's temple, and Jonak dies again to a pin.
Okay, all right. One, that's unfortunate for Jonak, but two, the Spark coming out of the gate, swinging, sending the NYXL back, and oh no, this is revenge. This is revenge right now, Jaws. This is you remember what happened in the last round? Well, I hope you keep remembering it, but this is going to be a big stagger.
Yeah, I think it will be. You know, they updated D.Va recently, of course, in the last patch.
250.
The remake used to do 50 damage if it landed straight on top of your noggin. Yeah, guess what it does now? 250 on live. Of course, we're not playing on live patch, so you don't really have to worry about that D.Va flanking your rest of your team. But with Jonak dying to Godsby once more, the Spark are just going to keep rolling this one through unless Yukpeng's got something to say about it. But yeah, with Friday and Flora going down, it's not to be, unfortunately.
Yeah, and Bernard was the only casualty that the Spark had lost right there, and not only are they building into some of these ultimates, they're pushing this payload over to point A. NYXL, they at least have some time to regroup and try to contest.
Yes, they will. I mean, they've got Shadow available. They can just play super far up, but look how far Ivy is away from Blizzard. Architect a couple of headshots, he'll be there, no problem, and they can even window really early. They do just that. High Noon comes out too.
Great wall right there, too, to try to contest. Force Godspeed out of position right there. The Shatter coming in. Jonak, he's out of this fight once again. Flora's going to meet him up. And the NYXL, it's going to be too much damage here, while the rest, Spark, they're going to be able to not only clear this point, but I love the way that they still have the sound barrier. They wiped up the NYXL, and they're building a lot of that momentum pushing forward after this point A.
Oh man, I mean, how bad does it feel to be Jonak right now? Every single fight you are taken down, either the first person to get taken down or the second. Like, the prioritization from the Spark here is just superb. However, you can also argue that, why is Jonak getting taken down first? It shouldn't be possible for him to get walked upon by a May and a McCree sitting in front of you. Godsby falls this time first, and wow, that's a sticky situation for Architect to be in.
As well as the Blizzard. He does get eaten by Bianca. Taste of breakfast going forward, trying to wake all of us up. Guxue now pins Ivy, and Ivy actually had the Blizzard online. Ivy was trying to get set up in position. The sound barrier coming alive, and Friday's going to be able to pull a sound barrier as he just gets it for this fight. Yukpeng gets stunned, but he will be able to have Shatter if the Immortality Field saves him, which it does. The D.Va bomb to create some of that space, and I like the way that Godsby's positioned right here. He's just trying to tackle pressure.
How does he get those kills?
The shield was up. They actually made him turn around. If we had Bernard actually pressuring the backlines and Yukpeng was forced to actually flip around in that moment, that is actually huge, because that allowed Godsby to not only get that pick, but now find Bianca and Friday at the same time and still expand this lead as they do push up to stop the NYXL.
Man, that is absolutely crazy. How do they keep finding these fights? And how does Guxue, by the way, keep finding pins on people like May and the Batiste? It's ridiculous.
Oh, these are answers that I love to watch happen real time. The Blizzard, though, finding both of the tank lineups between the Spark, and that's going to cause Gushwei to fall through with the Shatter at the ready. Yakpeng now has the Shatter himself. He just wants to make sure he can clean up around Architect, which he does, and they control over to that high ground room. Another stagger coming forward onto Bernard.
Oh, dearie me. Well, I mean, the stagger isn't going to last too long, you can imagine. He's only a couple of HP left, but a really nice wall in from Ivy again to separate a lot of people. Immortality Field came out, but it didn't actually hit Bernard on the ground, and Gushwei, yeah, his life bar was ticking really quickly down. Everybody was focusing him. The Immortality Field was history because everybody's shooting at it too. If it's right in front of you as well, not hiding around a corner, that Immortality Field health, that's gone in an instant, and Gushwei was there to follow as well. Now they can wrap around on the high ground. It's going to be a good little position they're going to be in. However, Jonak using with the Deadeye, he can use the window in order to stave off the aggression just for the time being. But actually just collapsing through this small corridor is going to be a nightmare. They actually opt to just go for the payload route and hoping that the NYXL jump on top of them and they can use Blizzard.
Yeah, you saw Gosby actually was ready a little bit. Oh, he gets stunned from the backline floor, but he's the one that actually falls down. Bernard actually tried to peel for Godsby right there, and he actually shoved Flora not only back to the spawn, but also now they've been able to try to retake that high ground. The great Maywall coming alive, though, from Ivy to stop their approach, and the Diva Bomb is going to be able to find Friday. That's going to be the aggressor right here for the Spark to not only take control of this payload, but this high ground, too. It's going to be a cleanup as the NYXL. They're going to be able to meet up themselves back into the spawn, but at least they have some ultimates to work with when they try to reapproach.
Yeah, but they haven't got Shatter, by the way. Yakpeng got charged into the wall, and Gushwei managed to interrupt that Shatter.
Again.
Yakpeng tried to do it tried to do the hero play there and actually shatter the rest of the Spark as they aggressed onto the high ground. There was a tale of two different directions again. The self-destruct came out from Bernard, and then Yakpeng had to look two different ways. And it's like, okay, I need to watch out for Gushwei Shatter, but I need to block this self-destruct as well. And he tried to go for the hero slam on the ground, but Gushwei was able to just telegraph that super easy, hit him with the pin, and killed him off against the wall. A forward hold here, however, with Ivy with the Blizzard. However, there's a Blizzard available, as well as that high noon from Flora around the corner.
Trying to control that space. The Shatter coming alive. Finding two, though, on that stun, the sound barrier to keep the rest of NYXL alive. And then you have IDK to match that. Godsby with another dead.
Oh my god.
Flora and Friday, they fall through it. The NYXL. Great wall coming alive from Architect. It's just going to be a cleanup here for the Spark, as they are going to be able to not only get this payload moving, but the NYXL, they're gone, and Spark leaving a statement.
Oh. Man, Godsby was known for his McCree a long time ago, and you can still see doesn't need to brush off any cobwebs. Ivy's still got the Blizzard, thankfully, but now you're fighting against a Widowmaker as well, and look at the space they've actually taken too. So Godsby can just sit in this little perch and just snipe away. Anybody that drops their shield, yeah, you're as good as dead. However, maybe a little bit more careful now as Jonak uses the window.
Oh, and they immediately dive on Godsby. That NYXL actually wasted no time on doing that. Not only did Friday follow up, but Bianca was on his tail, and now they've been able to not only reclaim the payload, but control this corner. It's going to be a little difficult as a Spark. They're forced to regroup, and maybe we will see a change from Godsby, as he did go over to the Widow when they were on defense for that last point as well, since it does provide some of that extra room to work with.
Yeah, Godsby he got owned by the window there. He didn't necessarily die to the window, but it forced the rest of his team back so Friday and Bianca could jump on top of him. Blizzard at the spawn door, such a spawn door challenge completed, as Bernard is ejected from the mech. He couldn't enter the spawn room because guess what was in the way? Yeah, it was a wall. So now they're going to have to go for the full reset. Nice little headshot on him as well, just to make him a little bit more sad.
Oh, that's tragic. Bernard actually did that only one time at Bianca. They've done like 3 times to Bernard on this map. We'll be able to get back in.
Vicky.
Yeah, they need to get on this point, but the NYXL, they're so aggressively pushed up. Flora's about to build into this Deadeye. You already see the way that Flora's currently right here does try to get the stun at the same time, and now the Diva Vet coming in to force out the respect. Yakpeng does have that shield
Jonak dies
but
again.
Gushwei finds Jonak with the fire strike, and at the same time, Yakpeng now trades that for IDK. Big Diva Bomb coming in from Bianca, and YXL are taking too much damage as this Blizzard not only controls that space, but potentially now has saved Spark, as they are going to be on this payload as the timer runs out.
Oh man, that was a really nice forward hold from NYXL, by the way. Like, look at how much space they created, plus the payload was moving back that entire time, so they have to re-push ground that they already claimed earlier. OT is here, they step off the payload, it is going to be done and dusted for this second map. Flora's got the high noon ready and waiting to go. It's up to IDK to try and negate a lot of this damage with this beat coming up very soon as well. Friday's got 1 to match 2, but this point is incredibly hard to finish. Havana in general is a very, very tough map to actually complete with time in the bank, and you can see why, especially with these rush comps. Holding at your spawn door is the name of the game. They're not, luckily enough, able to take the high ground on the D.Va, but they are slowly inching it towards this payload, but now it's into the warm grasps of the NYXL.
I love the respect from both these teams that we're seeing right here. The wall actually trying to isolate Spark. Guangzhou gets frozen, but the sound barrier from IDK tries to save him, but it's not enough here. Jaws, Architect, and Guangzhou, they fall to NYXL and nobody there. I mean, you had the D.Va right there, but the NYXL, they just cleared the point and they take the second map, putting themselves at map series.
Yeah, it was perfect. They knew exactly what their win condition there was, which was the May ultimate in the end. All they needed to do was just, like I said, trickle the payload in, just let it approach the third point, but not cap it, and then just build up as many ults as they possibly could by just dancing around. If they do lose one early, it's not too much of a big deal because your spawn is right there. Ivy was able to build up the Blizzard. Bada bing, bada boom, he throws it on the payload and they're able to just kind of finish from there. Because Guangzhou or like somebody from the Spark was having to touch the payload, so you're then met with a very, very frosty death. I want to see a little replay actually of Guangzhou charging into Yukpeng, because it looked like he was
when
charging
he pulled the shatter.
No, an infinite amount of time on that very last point.
Oh,
he was on the payload. Yeah, because I think
montage.
Friday booped him to stop him from actually pinning Yukpeng against the wall and just enabled the freeze to happen a little bit quicker so he couldn't get any extra damage off. That was a very, very close fight. Maybe if Guangzhou managed to pin Yukpeng, he could have been saved by the Immortality field. But with that, NYXL, they're going to take the second map and match point in this series as well. They're 2-0 up, and they might just win their first series of the 2021 split as well.
And we'll be able to see that if the NYXL does manage to close things off in a clean 3-0 versus the Spark. After this break, don't go anywhere because we're going on to map number 3.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. So much flavor, it's a mind crunch. And by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, NYXL 2-0 up in the series and potentially getting their first win of the 2021 season here at the Overwatch League. My name is Jaws, of course, joined by Vicky as always, and the Spark not looking so hard. They also need to claim their first win of the season too. It's not looking so great for them right now, being down 2 maps, but they can always springboard back into the action. And NYXL, I will say, looked a little bit sloppy, especially Jonak dying so often very, very early on, but it didn't really seem to matter at all, and there was a reason why. It was Ivy and his Blizzards, and yeah, we saw the stat card at the very start of the game, or before the game started even. First in damage across Mays in the Overwatch League currently, and 4.6 kills with Blizzard per 10 too. His Blizzards, that's a tongue twister almost. I'm trying to make it into a tongue twister to make myself feel better. But his Blizzards are doing so much to stop this Spark aggression.
Yeah, try to drop the beats out here. You're freestyling. No,
hey, bro, it's 2 a.m. I'm allowed.
Yeah, absolutely. We're waking up, and NYXL is helping us do that right now, especially looking at Ivy and his space control with those blizzards, as well as the fact that he gets it really quickly. But I want to look at the Spark. I recognize that Godspeed, he was doing so well, but when the moment he swapped over to the Widow for both defense and attack when they were getting to that last point, we recognize that the structure could allow him to actually find those picks that he could find safely. But I felt like every time he would swap over to the Widow, that momentum seemed to kind of halt for the Spark. You saw NYXL, they even took full advantage, pushed into their spawn at the very end of Havana there. Hopefully going into this next map though, Jaws, we see a little bit of a different pacing coming in from Spark.
Yeah, third map is going to be 2CP, and I believe it's going to be Volskaya Industries as well. So, Widowmaker, probably not. And although I will say, I do really enjoy the Widowmaker on Havana, especially that last point. And Spark set up for it perfectly, too, on their offense. On their offense. They managed to get Godspeed in that little hut that is just before the gates, and that's perfect, because then you push forward and you give the Widowmaker all the space. Problem was, NYXL knew that was going to happen, used the window, and then the rest of Godspeed's team exited stage left, and he was left alone. And Friday and Bianca just dove him and insta-killed him. So, a perfect setup, but the McCree was really needed at the very end, as soon as they kind of got spawn held, but almost a perfect understanding of how the composition works too. You should be spawn holding, ideally, especially in those situations where the cart needs a lot of time to kind of roll back, because you gain so much more than just obviously ult charge and some more time off the clock. That payload moving all the way back almost to second point, man, like that is a lot of extra time. Spark have to then recover. It's like 2 stabs with a knife rather than just the single one, you know? I think that's a phrase. Maybe it is. I don't know. It's late in the evening.
Make it one.
And I'm still waking up, kind of.
Copyright.
We're going on to our third map anyway, and I don't think there are going to be any substitutions either, but I want to see Grongbong, man. His Widowmaker is crazy. He's been performing exceptional, at least in the scrims that people have seen, but I don't think we're going to see that just yet, unless there's a Widowmaker meta, which might come around soon.
We'll see about that. Although, now working with what we've seen so far between both these teams, going into Volskaya, what kind of change are you expected to see from the Spark? I mean, I'm not expecting to see the Widow anymore, but going forward, anticipating what the Spark are now down 2-0, they need to figure something up.
Apparently, I willed it into existence and didn't look to my left. Grongbong is actually in.
Okay,
well, there you go. I willed it.
see that.
Mind reader. Perfect. Guangbong is in. Excellent work, everybody. Excellent work. Now we'll look to the left ever so slightly a little bit more often to make sure I know that's coming up. Yeah, so, okay, let's talk about Spark then on the defense for Volskaya. I mean, I don't think we'll see anything too different. It's still a very, very good map for the rush comps. Although you can run a little bit of Winston on the offense, taking the box control on the front of just after the gate, after the little truck, is very nice to do. You can also play something like a Farah as well, play up on the high ground. It does like, however, the NYXL are on defense first, so it's going to be what their comp is going to say about the rest of their team first. So let's have a look. So Guangbong is on the Ash long-range hit scan, then Yukpung's going to be there disrupting the background, and kind of what we saw in Busan as well, Vicky, where they sit around and just play chess. They just kind of move around the map as a solid unit, and then it's up to Ivy and Yukpung to take advantage of the amount of damage that Guangbong from a very, very far distance can deal with dynamites and just pop shots as well at the front line of the Spark.
Yeah, I really like this actually. Taking a look at the Spark, Bernard on the Zarya, making that difference maker to build into that charge, while Gu Shui is going to be able to disrupt the piece with some assistance from Architect to dive onto that backline. You already see as they do get set up into position here. And the NYXL, I like the way that they're going to be playing this too, considering the fact that Ivy is going to disrupt the piece from afar. You made note of it. Guangbong going to be able to be on that high ground. They're taking a lot of that damage though already. Already needing healing. Luckily though, Jonak on the Zen to be able to heal from afar, and they are able to regroup together.
Yeah, the bubble here from Bernard is going to be imperative to make sure Gu Shui can actually land a successful pile driver or even just swing through people to knock people off the high ground. And then Godspeed, of course, can just shoot heads from afar like he's doing currently. Has to be a little bit more careful, though, because Ivy is right next to him, just pressuring him out. Oh, Architect takes one to the dome. Very quick reset maybe here for the Spark at least. Gushue is going to have to play way more careful at this point. He cannot be doing any funny business in the backline of NYXL if he doesn't have the Tracer there to distract a little bit more. You can see him playing super far away. Those Discord orbs are something to be feared.
Absolutely, especially seeing that the NYXL, they're grouped up together. They do have Friday on the Brigida to make sure that Gushue isn't too much of a threat on the backlines. But Godspeed, he's been getting away with not only taking a lot of that pressure, but he's slowly building into that. Bob Architect, though, rather having the Pulse Bomb at the ready, does have that Discord Orb on them as they are going to respect the NYXL on this high ground. He's going to be able to dive right back in and does find Bianca at the same time. That's going to be a big deal because now that allows the Spark to push right in, get a little aggressive. Now with Ivy falling, the number advantage goes in favor to the Spark, and they are going to be able to get that first take for the point.
Yeah, no more protection for the support or the DPS for the NYXL as soon as Bianca does end up going down. He's only got one rock, and it takes a couple of seconds to reposition that shield to stop all that damage coming in. So that sticky was absolutely perfect from Architect. Now they're going to move to second point, and look at the ultimates online for the Spark. I'd be worried if I were them for this Bob. I mean, that can force out Transcendence really easily, but a bubble in onto Gushue again is going to be the name of the game, and Architect following up. They've got MCD's Transcendence to stop that flux damage, but Bianca's not been doing any damage whatsoever. 45% ult charge on the Sigma, not great.
It's a hard life out here. Ronak does have that Transcendence at the very least, and Yakpeng does get stunned, but gets out of that situation, building into those mines. NYXL, they're looking great on Ultimate Economy, but Spark do too, as they are going to be able to move in aggressively. A Bob for a Bob, it's a Western standoff, but the minefields is going to be able to control some of that spacing. The bombs, unfortunately, they're falling through, and Godspeed is going to allow the rest of the Spark to move right over in. The rally coming alive to keep this aggression, and they're booting the NYXL off. MCD, we see you clicking heads. We see you. We're talking about Godspeed real quick, but meanwhile, MCD is out here and has a Transcendence to match that, and nobody left from the NYXL to touch.
Okay, pretty nice from rookie MCD there, clicking 2 heads of the DPS. Not only Ivy trying to jump in and kill him on the Tracer, but prior to that, he just managed to get a right click on Guangbong, another rookie superstar for the NYXL. My God, that is what you want for your Zen player, man. Jonak stand over MCD has arrived. 4 minutes, a complete reset of the time bank pretty much for the Spark. Not too bad whatsoever. Super nice. As soon as you get one of those picks, you just hit that rally key. You just jump straight in. IDK's not going to go down quickly. The pulse bomb from Ivy is going to be the one thing that is going to deter somebody from popping the rally. I mean, you're an easy, almost sitting duck if you do pop the rally for that pulse bomb, but Ivy wasn't able to attach it and wasn't even able to get near IDK. The Sigma pick from Bianca, I want to touch on this again real fast because I mentioned he had a 45% ult charge when they got pushed to second point. Like, you got to think why that is. Who's he really doing damage to? The Hyperspheres do a fair chunk of damage, especially against like chunky front lines, but there isn't really a chunky front line for Spark. They're going in as individuals, and they are also sitting back. I say individuals, Gushue and Architect obviously diving in together, but they're not like actually on top of each other. Bianca's not getting any damage really done. He's there to play goalkeeper, or in a sense, right, to all the damage that Architect and Gushue are going to do to Jonak and Friday. So, but not even getting a flux online, and then MCD having the Transcendence anyway because he's the Zen doing damage from range. It's a tough life out here, honestly, for Bianca.
Yeah, especially after the Spark were able to take that first point pretty convincingly, and also were able to kind of skirmish over to the side to build into some of those ultimates. They knew that they could get really aggressive there. And NYXL, though, now coming out of the gates on the attack this time around. MCD making sure he can move into clicking domes going into the next round, and he does so onto Ivy, and that's going to put a dent to Yakpeng's plans, as they do have to now respect MCD's Discord. That could actually deal a lot of damage with the follow-ups that we're seeing from the rest of Spark.
Yeah, that's doing a little bit of damage, I think, to your mental as well. That's the second time that Ivy's small head has been clicked on. My word. MCD doing a good Jonak impression almost, trying to teach him a few new things, that is for sure. NYXL at least have gained a little bit of position here onto the high ground as well. Yakpeng managing to shove Banar off it, and Architect finding a pick onto Guangbong. It's pick after pick after pick onto the DPS of the NYXL as well. So now there's no real long-range pressure apart from the Zenyatta, and I say that as Godspeed then kills off Zen. So slowly but surely, the Spark are whittling away at the NYXL, and now because 2 people are dead, they can almost move in here with immunity, just killing them off and feasting on their ult charge.
Well, the grab is slowly coming online for Bernard. MCD, though, falls through. That means no pressure from Discord is going to come alive. At least he will be able to build into that next round of Transcendence, and the rest of Spark, they stave NYXL off. Just fine among being able to take care of Architect at the same time, but the respect is still there, and Spark, they're going to back off a little bit.
There we go. Okay, complete reset, no ticks acquired, and 2 minutes gone already. Bianca is 63% towards a Flux. MCD, yeah, he's going to have that Transcendence, no worries. Please, please, please save the please. Oh my god. If Bernard died there, I would have been very upset. IDK dies, though, to Ivy, as all that damage from the long-range Ashe was able to chunk him out just a little bit. Bob's going to come out from Godspeed to pressure the point as well, or at least try to, but he gets taken out by Jonak. 1 tick now acquired as they do use the mines and the Transcendence to try and clear them off as Architect lands a 2-man false bomb on that grab.
Oh man, that opportunity that was presented to itself from the NYXL after they took care of IDK, that was immediately shut down the moment that Architect came into play, and the Transcendence from MCD to help out that sustainability for the rest of the team. NYXL, their time bank is dwindling away before their eyes, and the Spark are still happily sitting on that first point with that 4-minute time bank that they were able to push out for the attack.
Yeah, they got 1 minute remaining now, and they're running into Rally too. I mean, not ultimate to be scoffed at, the press Q to win button. At least Friday's got his online as well. Maybe you throw the Bob into pressure. Mine's going to come in first though.
The Mine's now coming in to stop that rotation over to the point, but it doesn't matter. They're taking care of those minefields quickly, and NYXL, they really didn't do much off of that. Instead, they're actually opting to go in for position advantage and rotate over to that high ground. Like the way that Spark is playing this, though, they're not trying to overextend at the same time. Bernard racking in some of that extra damage to charge into that energy. Now Bianca finding Gushway, though, it's a big deal. Despite IDK utilizing that rally, it's not going to be enough, and the Gravitic Flux at the end of that rally is going to send them down. Bernard is going to be meeting themselves back into the spawn, but Architect also finding the pressure onto the DPS lineup of the NYXL.
MCD!
A Spark! They still managed to find these picks here, Jaws, and MCD, we got our eyes on you. He's looking at Jonak and he's telling him, I'm the captain now. And the Spark are being able to hold back the NYXL for this entire point.
Wow, that was absolutely ridiculous. Finally, Bianca got a Flux online, did result in a kill, but nothing more than that. Wow. There it is, they can't even touch. The Spark eventually coming alive in the series, and hey, taking the 3rd map, you're not out just yet. Now you've got to claim a couple more. A full reverse sweep is in order currently. Oh my word, that was a defense and a half. I mean, the NYXL just got rotated on time and time again. So many picks from MCD, so many picks from Godspeed, Architect alike as well. What a rough offense from the NYXL. I do not like Bianca picking up that the Sigma at all. It took him 3 minutes, basically, and 3 minutes and 30 seconds, if I count correctly, to actually build up to a Flux. Like, that is a long time. He manages to kill one important target, mind you, in the Zarya, but still 3.5 minutes. It's a little bit too long for my liking for the NYXL. And plus you have to move as this kind of small fortress, like I said before, right? And if you're getting picked off by people like MCD, that's the one thing that your comp kind of counters. These big picks that come from the right clicks from the Zen, or just like this long-range damage, or even someone on the flank as a tracer. You're there to hunker down and make sure that they can't come anywhere near you. But they were just kind of failing it. Just that, setting up that little Minecraft fortress, you know?
Yeah, and it's troublesome too, because meanwhile you have MCD with those Disco Orbs to make sure that Architect gets the full damage output that they could potentially get, especially after watching Architect get that double pulse bomb pickoff following up from Bernard's grab. Overall, the Spark, they finally found their footing here within the series, and they do take map number 3. Very potential reverse 3-0 here from the Spark if they do manage to maintain this momentum going forward into map number 4.
Yes, they do, and we'll find out if they can maintain that after this break. We'll see you guys in a bit.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League. The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile.
Welcome back, and we got a series on our hands with the Spark taking map number 3 versus the NYXL after the NYXL put themselves on match point, taking the first 2 maps within the series.
Yeah, not too bad whatsoever. We're heading to King's Row as our hybrid map. And yeah, I'm sorry to break the news. Guangzhou is actually out now. We are having Flora come back in. The man just couldn't... Oh, he just can't catch a break, dude. He comes in for his first debut game. It's Volskaya 2. Not my favorite map, of course. I'm not sure it's many other favorites maps either, but... He comes in, ends up losing, and then gets benched immediately, which kind of blows. I was really excited to see more Guangzhou later on in the series, but hopefully NYXL do bring him out later in the season. We'll have to keep our fingers crossed. Flora back in with Ivy. Definitely means we're going back to this this Brawl comp. And King's Row being almost the perfect map and perfect place to run Brawl as well. I can't imagine we're going to see too much Winston here. NYXL, they tried a little bit of something different with the Sigma. It really, really didn't work out. So running Ball seems like their best bet, especially when you have Jonak on the Batiste too. The guy's a monster at just dealing damage. And what better hero currently to do that than Window Man and Batiste? I mean, you just sit there with Window, shoot through it, does double damage, and you're basically a DPS as a support. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you know, you also have MCD that we got our eyes out on for, and considering the fact that MCD on Volskaya was absolutely popping off, playing DPS Zen, and also just not only helping that, but being able to position himself properly, so that way the sustainability after losing IDK, that very end when NYXL actually finally made their way onto the point, the Transcendence, the grab, and then the Pulse Bomb retaliation made sure the Spark made a statement on that map, and now the NYXL making some changes, getting Flora and Ivy back together on this DPS role. They took the first 2 maps in this composition and they were like, you know what, let's not change anything, let's just go back to what we were comfortable with. And the NYXL, they're going to be coming out of the gates on the attack.
Yes, they are. There you go. We got the Symmetra as well from Flora to TP, possibly to high ground. Try and force people away. Yeah, there it is. They want to just kill IDK and MCD. That is the name of the game. They're going to run straight towards them, and uh-oh, Behnar's in trouble.
Oh, they're having a party. They're having a party. Bernard, you're gone. You're sent back. Unfortunately, you're not invited to this get-together. And now the NY Excel, they're moving right over. I love the way that they're rotating here. Not only did they boot the Spark off of this high ground here and find that pick onto Bernard, they're making sure you guys are getting sent all the way back. We're making sure that you will not contest this point while we get this payload out of the garage. Godspeed, you have met the same fate with Bernard.
Excuse
and
me?
Architect. You guys can... Yukpung? Alright, you know what? NYXL, they were tired of playing these games on Blue Sky, and they're here on Kings Row right now, Jaws, to make sure that they are not going to get contested.
Okay, fastest time to int on a Tracer challenge from Architect there. Just stood in front of Yukpung's charge. You're not touching the point now. They're just burning extra time. There's no way you can do anything.
Yeah.
Jonak does get a full volley, actually, of sticky bombs there from Architect, but is going to be able to save himself with the Immortality Field. Point is completely capped by NYXL, and now they do get the payload moving eventually. Architect, yeah, you're dead, son. Nothing else to really do. That looked like Ivy was typing in chat there. He definitely, I want to see chat. Like, what did he say? He definitely hit that enter key and was typing some mad chat towards Architect for staggering himself. That was a YOLO pin as well from Yukpung. I'm pretty sure Architect didn't mean to be there. He just accidentally caught him. There's no way that that Yukpung meant to get that pin on the Tracer. But forward hold here, very nice. One person on the payload, they're going to speed out, and I think they smell something's wrong here.
Oh, they definitely know. They know. They know that something's wrong. They see one person's on that payload moving. Where's the rest of the team? And look, here they come, rotating right back in. They want to try to sandwich the Spark going forward. They do have Gushwei's minefields, though, that could try to keep them locked into that alleyway if they're not careful. You currently have right here the sound barrier coming alive, or rather, just building into that sound barrier from Friday. And you currently have Architect managing to take care of Jonak's Immortality Field, and now the window's online. Not only going to be able to buy in some of that space, but the Spark, I love the disengagement. They recognize the situation, and they're opting to just go over to that side house to try to match that with the NYXL. Here comes those minefields that we were looking at, and Bianca finding Godspeed, and the rest of Spark taking a lot of that damage. Thankfully, they have that res and the Transcendence to keep the rest of Spark alive, and this is actually going great for them after they take out Bianca first in this fight. Ivy with the Blizzard is going to be able to control this point, and they're just going back and forth here, Jaws.
Yeah, they are. With Architect taking out Yukpung, that's a pretty big pick, but trapped in this very small bar room. MCD luckily killing off Jonak, but Ivy is still there, freezing your entire team. Gushwei, he's dead, too much CC, and even Architect decides to join for a cheeky pint. I mean, yeah, that looked very chaotic. There were, again, 3 fights happening at once, but NYXL looked very undisciplined there in how they wanted to actually approach that at the beginning of the fight. They looked like they wanted to go high ground, and then they were like, okay, we'll window streak to try and kill the D.Va. Forgetting D.Va has thrusters, she jumps to high ground, but we're approaching point 2 now, and the high noon is coming out from NYXL.
Yeah, the Shatter came out from Yukpung right there, and now Flora is going to be able to try to use that. Oh, he was forced out of it. He did not want to get picked off by that. He actually repositioned himself, gave that positioning over. Architect on the duplicate, gets that Shatter online, doesn't find anyone, but Flora now instead finds MCD. Luckily, IDK's positioning has been phenomenal, is going to be able to build into that Valk very soon to help out that sustainability, and MCD does it again. We see you, we know, we have our eyes on you as he takes care of Jonak. That's a statement to be made, but Friday gets that revenge. Despite that, though, the NYXL, they're still holding on. Friday's about to get sound barrier, and they are going to try to contest the Spark here. After the tank lineup, they get overly aggressive. He's going to back off instead. They know that the number advantage isn't in their favor, and Spark are going to be able to hold that defense.
MCD is actually solo carrying right now on the Zen. Like, that is ridiculous. Just 2 massive picks, not only on the Kree that was trying to go for a big flank flashbang right click, but then also picks off Jonak from super far away as well. Jonak thought he was safe. He wasn't. MCD was lurking around those corners. And that is in just a ridiculous fight to win too. The payload is now going to slowly trickle back, and being able to regroup as 6 on this point is normally pretty tough. They are switching over to more of a dive-orientated comp with Jonak on the Island now, and Flora on the Sombra. Big ultimates to look out for, though. Ivy with the Blizzard. Mines are going to come out first, though.
Yeah, that dynamic actually was pretty big too. Built into that Bob coming up right now. Sound barrier from Friday to keep NYXL back into this fight. Bianca does have that D.Va bomb to control some of that space, but currently have MCD with the Transcendence instead. And Architect finally finding their footing, finding Ivy, as well as Ivy going down with that Blizzard. They are going to try to disengage here. Spark, they're just making sure that there's nobody else left from the NYXL to try to contest them on that high ground.
Yeah, they know they can't win the fight. Like, as soon as Ivy goes... And he switches from Blizzard.
What?
Okay,
Okay.
Ivy switches to Tracer away from May and gives up Blizzard there. They're really feeling they can find no value. I mean, the kite is super far pushed back. I can kind of see it because if it was on the first point, in the second point, it might have been worth it. Bob kills Ivy though, as Architect transforms into Winston.
And you have less than a minute on board here for the NYXL to take the second point, and it's not going to happen. The duplicate coming in from Architect is not only going to send everybody to Shadow Realm. Instead, NYXL, they have to respect Architect, and they are going to go for this potential last push.
Yeah, so real quick there again before the fight kicked off. If the payload was actually on second point, it would have made sense to keep the Blizzard. I kind of see their thinking because it's so far back that no one from Spark has to and is forced to contest, but it seems like a big waste to me. We'll see if it does hurt them. 2 supports and a self-destruct online, as well as that mine's coming up for the Spark, as we have a nano for Jonak, but Flora needs a CMP to potentially make this fight winnable for the NYXL. Nano onto Yukpung to start the fight.
Yeah, I got my eyes too on MCD, who has a Transcendence before, does manage to find that. Oh, but MCD actually uses the Transcendence first here. Now going all in. NYXL, they finally find themselves on this payload. The Valkyrie to keep the rest of Shock alive. Gushue taking a lot of that damage. He falls through and he was about to get minefields. Godspeed makes the swap over to the Tracer to quickly get back, but it's too late right now. They're cleaning up the point. NYXL, they finally get onto that second point that they were able to struggle with a little bit versus the Spark.
Yeah, okay, they finally make it work, even without the Blizzard. MCD, I don't know if you guys saw where he was. He was on the flank, trying to find some kills. I mean, yeah, pretty aggressive, but I would be too.
Himself.
You know, but yeah, feel himself a little bit. I know, I'm a Zen player, like, I understand that. You find a couple of kills on the flank one time, you try it 2, 3, 4, 5 times, then I die repeatedly, and then I switch off the pick.
Oh, this is the engagement right here. I like the follow from Ivy. They wanted to retaliate from the EMP, and they do have that pulse one, but they find Jonak here. And that was some assistance from the Discord that they had onto Jonak, making sure that Jonak isn't a threat. And Bianca now is going to get demeched, and this is Spark's opportunity to reclaim this corner to send NYXL back, especially with their limited time ban.
Oh, MCD guys, it goes down to Flora. EMP wasn't overly successful as they now end up backing off. However, Flora's built not a bad ult bank already. 50% towards another EMP. I wouldn't be scoffing at that anytime soon. Architect with the copy though, this is going to be the deal breaker here for the NYXL. All he needs to do is copy Yukpung. As soon as that comes in, Friday has to hit that rally button. If Jonak goes down here, it's basically all over. He's so close to this nano, and look how Spark are playing, so aggressive.
The way Ivy now has gone through. There's less than 20 seconds on board here, Jaws. Nano Boost will be online very shortly to allow Yukpung to go right in. Bianca's also building into that Diva Bomb. Friday with the rally to help the sustainability. Architect does have that duplicate though to go in for a reset, and this could make it or break it here. Yukpung now is going to be able to hold the front line, steal on a lot of that pressure. Overtime is now unlocked, but the EMP is going to be built in for Flora, and that's going to be crucial here to keep the Shock at bay.
Jonak's dead.
Godspeed finds Jonak though with the Deadeye, and the EMP comes in. Huge EMP at that. Not only finding 5, but is going to be the cause of Bernard to go down. Architect is going to need him, and Gushue won't be able to utilize the minefields. Overtime ticking away, and now utilizing the Diva Bomb to control this space will look to be a grim situation from the NYXL. Has now reversed into a good situation with Ivy making that swap over to the Tracer.
All right, not very successful first EMP, built into a second one super fast, hit 4 or 5 people there and managed to turn the fight. I said Friday needs to smash that rally key as soon as that the Winston came in, but he didn't need to. Not like almost instantly, but as soon as Jonak got jumped on after he used that nano, he smashed rally. Perfect. Jonak gets all the armor in the world, and then CC just layered on top of Architect to make sure he can't use that primal and knock people off or just even out of position in order to get killed. Pretty damn good if you're the NYXL, and you should be feeling yourself right now. Yeah, you got beaten up just a little bit on Voskaya Industries. You want to get your head in the game again. Completing King's Row, not a single second of time in the time bank, but I mean completing it, especially after a disastrous second point. You're feeling pretty okay. Not great, but you're feeling okay.
Yeah, they went from prioritizing their positioning on that first point to get that payload moving and doing such a good job at pressuring back the Spark that in that second point, it gave enough time for the Spark to actually regain themselves, build into some of those ultimates, and also control that high ground and sandwich the NYXL. Although now the Spark is on the attack, and if we're going to see a similar situation come forward between the Spark and NYXL, we'll see about that. as the NYXL now they're getting into position to negate Godsby, who is on that Widowmaker to get a quick pick.
They even switch over the Hangzhou too. Just one sneaky headshot on a support or a DPS there is really nice. Guangzhou's just setting up for the long flank on the Wrecking Ball. And they're setting up, it's obviously a bit of a different comp. Thank God Bianca is actually on the Zarya, not the Sigma again. Although you get to do a little bit more damage because King's Row is a little enclosed.
Yeah.
But it's still a better pick. This CC Chen and Yukpung, is he actually going to go down? I don't think so. Architect unfortunately cannot finish the kill. Really nice layering of the CC there to make sure they can chunk him out. Spark are being able to touch already though. 33%? They're going to get tick? No, doesn't look like it.
They know Ivy used recall already. You see Architect and Guangzhou setting up a position and the high ground. Oh, floor! All right, sneeze on Architect, send them back. No more Architect to pressure on this high ground. Could put a dent to Guangzhou's plans here, but the way that Spark is playing, very split up at the same time. Ooh, that was a pressure tool right there for Flora, but he will be able to take some cover, get some healing, and build into some of those ultimates for MCD's Transcendence and IDK's Rally.
Yukpung's doing a good job of just contesting Banar, making sure they can't get that first tick. Architect almost goes down again, forced to recall already. Wow. They're just focusing down Architect like it's nobody's business. Okay, 33%, not bad at all. At least get one tick, but still getting chunked out from afar. Ivy can just launch in a pulse bomb whenever he pleases or wait for this Graviton Surge, but rather unlikely as Bianca's only 50% of the way there. And Ivy taking the kill, or getting the kill, sorry, an Architect and another one on Bernard too. So, okay, big reset once more. MCD's dead. Jonak trying to take his crown back is the best zone in the world.
Making a say, he was like, all right, you had your fun for these few rounds, but, you know, I'm Jonak at the end of the day, and was a former MVP out here. He does have that Transcendence coming in, MCD as well to match that, but NYXL, they're looking really strong. Got my eyes on Ivy, though, not only taking care of Architect, but had utilized that pulse bomb to get that follow from the rest of NYXL to pressure out Spark. Architect now, rather, does have the pulse bomb themselves, as they are going to try to go into the back lines, followed up by some support from Guangzhou. Ultimate economy looking at NYXL, though, is a little grim, as the Spark, they're not too far off, but this could really make it or break it if the Spark want to take their time in getting this point.
This is so slow, though, from the Spark. I mean, they're just getting halted at every single hurdle, either an ult or just a single pick. Guangzhou is going so low. Discord Orb and a Bob shooting at him as well as everybody else, too. With Pulse Bomb locked in, can't get anything, but forces Transcendence. Yeah,
the Transcendence comes in from MCD, and he had to at the same time right there, but was it worth it? IDK had fallen with the rally, too. The Minefields actually finds Flora, but the NYXL, they're still leading in numbers, and look at this charge. Bianca wasting no time to melt away the rest of the Spark. And these Minefields are still finding members of the NYXL, but they will be able to try to get back in before this last attempt on Spark to push on this point.
Yeah, this could be their last attempt actually on this map and in this series too. I mean, NYXL now need to hold for 50 seconds and they win the series. Ivy with Pulse, as all they really have to bear. IDK's got their rally. You just need to force the issue, really, if you're the Spark right now. Guangzhou again is trying to set up. He's trying to just pounce onto Flora. MCD's taken extremely low, popping that rally. Needs to be able to shield off all the damage coming towards MCD. He's going to be able to keep a couple of people nice and healthy. Yukpung goes down as well. Finally, they get their second tick online as Ivy falls too. This could be the Spark now taking the first point. It looks like it's going to be. The Q to win button was pressed by IDK, and they eventually get the payload moving. But look at that time bank, 2 minutes and 40 seconds to move through this second point. And like, how slow were they before? NYXL just had them on read. Like, there was absolutely no way they were getting in. It was like a pick here, a pick there, and an ultimate there to stop them moving. Okay, and now we have to reset because Bob's out. It was an absolute mess, and it was only until everybody kind of pressed Q at once with the grabs and the pulses and the minefields that they really got something going.
Disrupting the piece.
I
still fights MCD. IDK, all right. The support lineup, you're gone. And NYXL, they're going to run away with that, knowing that Guangzhou not only has a Discord Orb on him, but he's alone. There's nothing that could help sustain him as MCD goes down the drain. And NYXL, this is difficult. When it comes to fighting past this choke point, you do have that side to try to at least find a different rotation right back to contest the NYXL. But at the same time, the NYXL, they're building into some of these ultimates. Architect does have that pulse bomb. He could find at least Jonak or Friday over to the back. It could be a difficult situation, but that is Friday that you have to get around with that shield bash, as you don't want to get caught by that. And Guangzhou is going to try to help support Architect.
Gushue is going to try and roll himself to the backline yet again. He's very, very close to the minefield. It's just the pressure of the pulse bomb here. Jonak, yeah, he's going to be able to dodge that straight behind the bookshelf. And Architect on fires. Might not get healed, actually. Someone's going to have to care him very fast. Gushue falls, and this book shot that they're holding is working out very, very well for them. Gushue's taking these long flanks, but as soon as they kind of hear him run behind them, Jonak and Friday and Flora, they end up just scurrying to the mini health pack, and Gushue doesn't really have a way in. Like, he's going to get coach gunned, he's going to get stunned, discorded, and he's going to have to use the minefield, which he's only just gone online to disturb that. Flora's going for a very cheeky flank on the backline here.
Wants to disturb the beast. Right ahead. MCD's right there. MCD's right there. Oh, but the Transcendence coming in to actually negate the grab. Actually kind of put a dent to Flora's plans. The Cat actually managed to get MCD. Now being able to follow up though. Again. Flora is still on fire. Just dropped down from that high ground to make sure to follow up with the rest of NYXL, and Spark. They're sent back to the spawn with less than 40 seconds in the time bank to take it to that second point here, Jaws.
Oh, that was disgusting. He just ran through Architect, bullets spraying everywhere, connected a few with his head. That was super nice from Jonet there, by the way. And then grabbed on Surge. Godsby sat, and he got right click, instantly killed him off. And now Flora kills Godsby again. Again, 17 seconds, final fight territory now for the Spark to try and get back into this series.
They were looking great.
Look at this
looked like they had the potential to come in, and they're going
on. Goon squad.
Oh,
like Flora, Jonet.
And
the AoE damage is insane.
Oh, but they pay for it at the same time. But Flora is unstoppable right now, despite losing Bianca and Jonak. You have Yakpung and Flora absolutely popping off. You have currently Gushue on the point. They need to manage to boot him off so the overtime ticks away. They're trying to stagger all the way in, but that Dynamite dealing so much damage. Can they get there on time? They do. They do manage to touch. It's Bernard who does manage to go over to the D.Va to make sure they can get there on time, allow the rest of the Spark to get over. And the NYXL, they understand the situation. They don't want to go for Harita. Instead, rather, they want to back off to wait for the rest of NYXL. They are going to give this corner over to the Shock, though, or rather the Spark, though. And now with this Pulse Bomb online from Architect, it's going to be tricky. You do know he wants to go in for the back line. The Bob now coming forward, and it's absolutely chaotic right now. Joss, would look to be a grim situation now. The Spark have now been able to turn that around. The Bob has been used up from Flora. Yakpung is building into those mines, but the Spark are still finding these picks.
Yeah, the press Q to win button comes online again for IDK as Guzwe slams onto Jonak as he's not left with a bone left in his body, or a screw and a bolt, I guess. Friday and Flora end up taking out Guzwe and Architect. OT's ticking down now, Vicky.
And not only that, NYXL, they're finding picks, but they're low themselves. Yakpung falls through, but the Spark, there's nobody left. And the NYXL, they're excelling through over the Spark, currently taking the first series of APAC that we've opened up today with.
All right, not bad. They find their first win of 2021. What an unbelievable show. What a ridiculous amount of aggression from the backline of the NYXL. And Flora finding these stupid flanks as 3 people and then taking the fights early. I love it. Flora just doesn't care who he's facing against. He knows they're veterans on the Spark. He doesn't mind at all. He'll take a flank on you, no worries. MCD left a little bit helpless some of the time. He really had a showing on Voskhaya Industries, but kind of put in his place. And Jonak switching over to the Zen. He had a little bit of a play of the game at the end there too, the Transcendence from the grab, and then clicking on a couple of people's heads as well. Just trying to make sure everybody knows he is one of the best Zens in the world. Still, you know, congratulations to NYXL, first series. Spark, not quite finding it just yet. There's been sparks, funnily enough, of brilliance at least. I would say MCD, on top of everybody, honestly, has been performing exceptionally. There's still a lot more growing pains, I think, for the Spark roster as of yet. And moving on to the season, maybe we'll see some bright flourishes a little bit later on. But for now, the NYXL looking pretty good. Someone needs to just punish Flora, though. They can't keep getting away with this. The 3-man flank, they can't do it.
Being enabled to buy Friday and Jonak to help with that sustainability, and they were they traded, but they traded in their favor, especially with that time bank ticking away. That's a lot of pressure for the Spark to try to come back from that. Meanwhile, Flora is just quite literally holding forward and getting away with clicking these heads. And with those tricky flanks that we saw Flora try to go for too, you saw that Flora was actually positioned right above MCD, but luckily that Transcendence came in. But it didn't matter at the very end of the day, Joss. The NYXL, they take it over the Spark. kind of showing, yesterday, unfortunately, we got 3-0'd. But today, they didn't get the 3-0 over the Spark, but at least taking it to a 3-1. They're looking fantastic, and that's how everything starts in the first place.
Yeah, Yukpeng as well is going to be our player of the match presented by Xfinity. Yukpeng performed exceptional on the Reinhardt in the first couple of maps. I mean, him and Gushue, I mentioned it on Havana, but we're just kind of trading places, and he was just running at their backline as Gushue was running at his. The Wrecking Ball, of course, too. He's been looking rather clean. Not too bad whatsoever. It's been nice to see some Wrecking Ball. Don't like to see Wrecking Ball in my ranked games, but seeing a good ball player that isn't Among is always a nice surprise. And it's been quite an interesting transition, I think, for a lot of main tank players having to pick up ball for this season. And it was an interesting identity that Chengdu Hunters had, but now kind of every team has to have their ball player because these double bubble comps, or even the Wrecking Ball with the Zarya in tow, they are so important because you can take so many angles, and you can see Yukpeng just kind of destroying in the front lines. I mean, look at that. Knockback kills 36, power driver kills 15, players knocked back almost 100. This guy's unstoppable on the ball.
Wow. Yeah, and also that follow-up that we would see between Ivy going right in and Floor being able to distract the rest of the Spark. Yukpeng also enabling Ivy to just dive right back in. And with some of that assistance from Jonak, it really allowed and enabled Yukpeng to shine. I'm really excited to see more of Yukpeng in the future, but that's going to conclude this first series for the day.
Yes, it will. We've got an interesting one coming up a little bit next, but we'll have to leave you on red for the time being. We're going to jump to a quick break, guys. Do not go anywhere. We'll see you in a bit.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Xfinity, the preferred internet provider of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everyone, to the May Melee Qualifiers, week number 2, and we just finished our first series of the day. And looking at our first series here, Jaws, I like bold chips, but I also like bold takes. Tell me your bold prediction for looking at these two teams and the way that they performed. What are you expecting going on throughout the season between the NYXL and Spark?
My bold prediction presented by Pringles. What is my bold prediction? Let's have a look. NYXL, they're going to excel the rest of the season. Jonak is going to do a Violet. He's going to transition to DPS for certain maps. He's going to do everything and all and everything. He's going to do tank as well. You know, he's going to do a full mirror. He's going to go tank, support, and DPS in a season, and he's going to win MVP. There you go. There's my bold prediction.
You know, yesterday, I was trying to be super outlandish, but now, I don't know. You got me beat, but that's also something that I would actually really want to see anyways, but just to see out of curiosity how that would go. But my bold prediction, looking at the NYXL, I think, you know, this is actually going to sound a little boring. I think what they're dealing with some growing pains at the moment, and I saw that yesterday, and especially now looking at the performance now, they absolutely were able to regain some of that confidence into that series versus the Spark. My bold prediction is, again, it actually kind of sounds boring. I want to sound a little more outlandish.
Okay.
You know, I think, all right. I think Ivy is not going to be on the May and is going to be able to pop off. I want to see more Ivy Tracer. I want to see Ivy go more Tracer than the May that we are so used to seeing from Ivy. That's what my bold prediction is going to be. I'm going to see Ivy way more on that Tracer pick than May going forward. Doesn't matter what meta it is.
So you'll say they're going to remove May from the game? Excellent.
It's not Christmas yet, Joss. We can't be saying these things.
I thought you were just leaking the script. That's fine. I think while we get punished for leaking the script, we need to jump to a quick break. We'll see you guys in a sec. We got match number 2 coming up soon.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles. Stay in the game.
What up, guys? Welcome back. We have the Chengdu Hunters against Philly coming up soon on your screens. I'm looking forward to it, and I think everybody's looking forward to the Hunters. Let's be real with ourselves here. There's no way, not a single member of the audience watching APAC isn't excited to see some more Hunter gameplay. I know that's for sure. So, Philadelphia Fusion, been looking pretty good as well, to be fair, Vicky.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, when I take a look at this upcoming series we're about to have, I think this is going to be a statement maker between which team is going to be number 1 leading the way for Impact and which team is going to be falling over to that number 2 spot. Hopefully, when it comes to looking at Philadelphia, that's not something they want to relive out here. So looking forward, though, the Hunters, they're looking really strong, and I'm really excited to see what they got in store for the Fusion.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more wreckable. Let's be real with ourselves here. You know what I really enjoy as well, though? I enjoy fan art and art of Carl. If people could... Carl. I said that like a very American way. Carl.
You've been here for a while now.
I have been... it feels like too long, honestly. Too long living next door to Matt, I'll tell you that right now. But you can submit your own fan art to our website, to have it featured some of the time. overwatchleague.com/art-gallery. Submit your own fan art. It's pretty cool. We've seen some of it in the breaks and some of it in the intros and outros and stuff of the show. It's been really cool to see, honestly. And yeah, so let's go back to the game. Wrecking Ball is going to be the pick for Chengdu, let's be honest. And we did speak about it a little bit yesterday, Vicky, and it is a little bit sad to see Among kind of taking a back seat to Gaga, because he he had this Wrecking Ball and the style of Wrecking Ball that he was playing, and when no one else was really playing Wrecking Ball, it was kind of unique, it was kind of wacky, and everybody loved the Chengdu Hunters for that. But now we have Gaga coming in to the league and joining the Hunters, and well, you can already see via the stats, like #1 in hero damage, #2 in final blows, first in grappling claw kills. Like, this guy is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, you know, I like the fact that you wanted to highlight Gaga there, because, you know, looking at Gaga, he's the way that he's been able to perform so far within the last 2 weeks. Rookie phenomenon. He's been having a dominant week thus far, and looking at Mono, he's extremely aggressive, I feel like, when it comes to, or at least troublesome when it comes to aggressive tank play, whereas Gaga is more so that fresh face and has a different type of perspective in the game that really shows for itself within his own playstyle.
Yeah, they're also just fantastic at bringing Jinmu on and playing the Pharah, and then you also have Jimmy as well. Like, the flexibility that the Chengdu Hunters currently have in their arsenal is absurd. And there is always a question, who they're going to play first. And honestly, I'd be scared if I were Fusion right now. Chengdu Hunters, they're not some sort of anomaly team where you're going to see these kind of wacky strats. This is the meta that is being just played, right? But you're also having some of the best players in the world on their best roles, which is extremely scary. Jimmy on the Pharah? Yeah, nah. Leave on anything? No, I don't want to face Leave at all. And what's scary for the Fusion on top of that is that they don't have all their players with them currently. They're still running this set lineup, and they can't flex people in and out because they've had a bit of a travel issue. Of course, now you can see on your screen the Hunters starting lineup. We got Leave, Jinmu, Gaga, Elsa, Monk, and Nisha. And Monk has also been an incredible standout performer too. His Ana has been exceptional. Nisha too, his Mercy. There is so many things I could say about the Hunters, and Hex would definitely appreciate them too. Last year, Vicky, I'm sure you're watching, but Hex loved to big up the Hunters, and his penny stocks, yeah, they're on the rise.
And he invested quite smartly, if I could say so myself, especially looking at the way that Hunters have performed. I mean, the winner of this series will become the first team to qualify into the May Melee. So this is more than just, you know, bragging rights of, okay, who's the best team right now in APAC? Because I feel like that's what a lot of people are questioning when they take a look at the Fusion and Hunters. But, you know, Panda's up right now, and I just have to give a quick shout out to that social team for the Hunters, because I love the artwork that they do manage to put out there to advertise their games. But going forward, taking a look at the Fusion, though, enough about the Hunters. You know, Carpe just hit 10K kills yesterday, actually. It was so crazy that your audio just, you know, I blame it on Carpe. The audio it was Carpe hitting 10K right there. And looking at the Fusion getting out of that win from yesterday, they're looking fantastic, and I'm excited to see what more they have to provide, especially against a team that's been as dominating as the Hunters.
Yeah, Carpe's 10,000th kill was my audio devices. That was
with
what
the Symmetra.
Oh yeah, beaming them down in the circuits already. I mean, yeah, it is a little bit unfortunate that the Fusion don't have their full lineup with them, but I mean, who else would you really want? I mean, Alarm and Toby have been looking really good. Toby looking so good on the Lucio. Bit of a different playstyle from Funny Astro. You want a really super aggressive Lucio, and Toby's been kind of showing that. He's been still finding a lot of boop kills, where a lot of Lucios somehow, you know, just wouldn't normally get them. He is the boop god after all. And Alarm, of course, superstar in the support role too. Is it going to match up against the Hunters? That is the big question on everybody's lips. I mean, the Fusion, they were 2-up as well without their Western players coming over too, so it has been a nice start for the Philadelphia Fusion, but Hunters are just on an absolute tear. Their only map loss, of course, is to the Valiant, actually, of all teams, which is a little bit crazy. Ilios is going to be our first map today for this series, at least, and man, this is a good dive map. A very, very good dive map. A good map to play ball. There's a lot of grappling spots, a lot of places you can boot people off as well. This just speaks to the Hunters like no poet ever could.
I like that you brought up the fact that the Hunters, the only map that they've lost has been against the Valiant.
To the Valiant!
It's so funny too, because I think I feel like I recall seeing Gaga making a note actually of how they were trying to have fun or something like that, and you know it ended up with the Valiant being the only team to still take a map, and then you're looking at the Shanghai Dragons, you're looking at what went down between the NYXL yesterday. Overall, I mean, they're looking strong, and the Fusion now are the next victims for the Hunters' line of sight. now as we do go into Ilios and we're setting things up. I'm excited to see what the Fusion has been able to adjust to after watching the Hunters perform yesterday.
Yeah, let's have a little look. TP's out for the Fusion as well as the Hunters. So Jinmu on the Pharah, no big surprise there. Leave on the Sombra, also no big surprise. The hero pool for the DPS line I mentioned before is just spectacular. Toby is on the Brig, unfortunately, not gonna lie. I wish he was playing the Lucio. There's a lot of places to boot people off around the point, but the Brigitte is just so good at stopping and mitigating this dive. Believe just kind of wants to play super far up to Rascal, a little bit in trouble. Hopper's going to get hacked as well. Perfect target for Jinmu to do some damage, but Monk's already dead.
Yeah, that's a big anti too onto Elsa. That's actually going to boot Elsa out of the mech, and the follow-up as well. So it's going to meet themselves back into the spawn. But Carpe, here he comes Carpe though. We were noting Carpe earlier on, I mean, on the Tracer, being able to disrupt the piece. Rascal's unfortunately going to fall though after trying to tack on that extra pressure onto Jinmu. And that may be a trade that I would say would be great, considering the fact that Jinmu has just been such a threat that we've seen thus far upon the Hunter's performance. Going in though, currently, Carpe has been able to help clear out this point. Mono gets hacked. He is trying to control this high ground to boot Elsa off, and they are trying to desperately try to control this point, but at the same time with Jinmu taking that pick off of Alarm, it's very possible here as the Hunters make their way over to control this point for the first time.
Yeah, beautiful kill there by Jinmu, just sniping away Alarm from across the map, and that is basically it. Toby can't really defend against the Pharah. That long-range rockets do a lot of splash damage, and those couple of direct hits on your shield will instantly kill it. So Alarm falling does mean the end of the point control for the Philadelphia Fusion. I mean, if you look at expectations for the Fusion, what do they want to do? Well, they want to jump on Monk time and time again, because Nisha is not going to be on top of him. He's going to be with Jinmu in the skies, trying to damage boost him, heal him, and make sure he's safe. Monk is going to be a lot more vulnerable. Leave with the EMP, though. He can make a very quick engagement in this mega health pack room, and the Barrage and Nano are coming online as well. So EMP, Nano, Barrage seems like the perfect recipe for some kills for the Hunters now. Alarm's dead again.
Taking the Alarm now falls through, does manage to pull out the Nano Boost, and Rascal gets hit with the anti. It's going to be a cleanup from the support side of the Fusion, and currently with the way that the Hunters are able to push back the rest of the Fusion, they're looking strong on this point. Now they have taken the lead, and Monk is going to be able to get rezzed right back into the action.
Yeah, look at everybody just scurrying towards Monk right now. They know Mahado's got that primal rage, but he does get slept. In fact, Nisha going super low, has to just duck, dip, dive, and dodge away from the incoming damage from Rascal. Leave. He did hit an EMP, but it was only on Toby last fight, but managed to take him out quick, sharp, and no rally was available. Speaking of that, he's going to activate it now in this fight to try and turn the tides of war now.
A duplicate coming in from Rascal actually duplicated Monk's Ana and got immediately booted off of it after Leaf actually hacked him at the same time. Also does have that Diva Bomb and gets booped off to the side here. Can he come back? Does he have a jump? I mean, he is back into the fight at least. The rest though onto Jinmu's going to keep Jinmu as a threat, and the rest of Fusion are going to be able to clean up EMP onto Hoppa and Toby. Although no follow-ups coming forward after Nisha unfortunately falls. Monk tries to keep themselves back in here, the Nano Boost, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough. They do manage to flip the point once again, but 88%, that's a quite hefty lead here if you're looking at the Hunters.
Oh, that was a mad overinvestment there of ults from the Hunters. They used EMP when 3 people were dead, or 2 or 3 people were dead, and then they used their Nano onto Leave to try and keep him alive and kill somebody. There's a lot of damage mitigation. Speaking of Nanos, though, yep, Mano, Goomba Stomp, Monk, and Monk's dead. A Resurrection at least is going to come through, but Mano now getting chased away. Nano for a res, I'll take that any day from the Hunters.
He had to back off right there too. He had to displace that. They had to waste out the res and keeping Monk alive here. Jinmu does have that Rocket Barrage that you were making note of earlier. Anti onto Elsa does have that Diva Bomb to go in for a quick reset. So a matter of positioning here, you currently see Elsa does have the Diva Bomb themselves, taking in a lot of that damage, is going to be able to pull the trigger on that to go in for that reset. But Mono's taking a quick nap again. Monk consistently getting Mono for that, and that's why we keep seeing Mono dive right back in, and now Alarm has gone down. Anti onto Mono. It's a matter of following up from Jinmu. He gets stuck with those bombs, but at the same time, he's still able to survive that pocket coming forward, and the Rocket Barrage to clear the point.
Stuck
By the pulse bomb. He was so close close to Carpe down on the ground that Carpe just stared at him while he was doing the rocket barrage and cleaned them up. And at the same time, he got a 2-for-1, took care of Leave, and now currently with the point over to overtime for Fusion currently, the minefield's alive, and the tank lineup is trying to desperately hold on to contest this point. The Diva Bomb's gonna boot them off very temporarily, but you still have Elsa that was able to get out of there in time, wait out for the rest of the Hunters to make their way over. EMP onto both tanks, and they're actually gonna get not only booted out of the mech, but Mono's gonna fall through. This is gonna be the opportunity right here for the Fusion to make sure that he could sustain themselves. Big ante, and it's gonna be a cleanup. That actually caused Elsa to fall through, and Gaga took a lot of that damage. Nisha on the Valkyrie, but it's gonna be too late. It's just a matter of time before the Fusion, they take the first round.
Yeah, not bad whatsoever. Leave just came in at the final few moments there with the EMP. He was at 99. You could see almost the desperation in his eyes trying to build it up. They did manage to get the D-suit on the Diva and kill her off and kill the Monkey, but it was all for naught in the end. Alarm was super safe in the backline. Jinmu was already dead, and he did manage to nano Rascal, and Nano and Echo against tank players. Yeah, that's a lot of damage. There's nothing really stopping you from going down almost instantly. Very well played by the Fusion to grasp back onto that. They did let, or Hunters did actually let the Fusion cap like halfway through that fight, and then of course is the onus on Hunters then to try and touch and recap and stop it going to OT. So a little miscontrol of the point there from the Hunters side. But as we go on to Ruins, a bit of a different look now as Carpe has got the damage boost from Toby this time, as he changes over to the Ash. Leave doing the same thing though, as Nish is going to be at his back. Nice hack onto Mano though, insta-killing him.
Interesting here too, Jinmu on the Sombra, perhaps trying to find that Carpe was a threat, but now it's Rascal on the Tracer, something we've seen before, Rascal being able to actually juggle so many characters to work within their arsenal. And overall, as they are trying to get right back onto this point, Jinmu gets taken out by Alarm, getting a quick headshot over there, and Rascal is going to be able to try to keep on this pressure into the back lines of the Hunters. Fusion right now, they're looking so strong. Not only they're building up some of that momentum, but they're forcing Hunters back. They are going to have to regroup, and this point is going to be reclaimed by the Fusion.
Yeah, I want to point out something real fast. The Philadelphia Fusion running the Sigma of all things, of course. On control, it's a little bit better because people are kind of bundling onto the point at quite rapid intervals, so you're going to be able to build up a lot more of that ult charge for the Flux. But they are, again, trying to move around. There's this tight-knit group of people, Alarm, Toby, Carpe, and then it's up to Rascal and Mano to kind of duck, dodge, and jump into the backline to try and kill people. Jinmu knows exactly that, and of course is trying to set up on the backlines, trying to get the hack onto Hopper, so Gaga can have a little bit of an easier engage. Oh, okay, or just kill Alarm. All right, well there you go.
The follow-up, Jinmu had planned, and Gaga said no, and it just immediately dove right in there, took it, and I love the follow-up coming in right afterwards. Essentially, they just got sandwiched out here, and the Hunters are now trying to make their way right back over the minefields and the Bob that was used by Carpe. He's still alive over to the side, and he's getting pocketed by Toby. You want to watch out. He does have that Discord on him, but he is going to back out so that way he doesn't overextend to wait out for the rest of the Fusion.
Yeah, nice dive. That's what I'm talking about. Just the hack on the Zen. You don't really need to hack the Zen, to be honest with you. Oh, big pile driver. That was a lot of ult charge. He went from 10% to 45 in a matter of seconds. And Leave clicks on Toby, so he's dead, and that's going to be a reset now for the Fusion.
Great trade right here for Hunters, and they are going to be able to wait out for Gaga. Alarm and Toby, they do have those ultimates to work with here, though, Jaws, and
what?
Rascal finds Jinmu,
solo.
though. Wow. Yeah, going one by one, too. Essentially just trickling in, and that's not a position that you want to be in here. Although they do have the point, the Fusion, they're making their way right over with his Gravitic Flux. Alarm, though, does have the Transcendence as well as Monk to negate the Gravitic Flux that we just saw come out from Hotba. They're trying to take control over this point as they are trying to take lead here, and the Valkyrie is going to come alive from Toby to help that sustainability. The EMP, though,
hack.
finding Toby and Rascal, and they're actually going to get a follow-up from that. They're going to clean up around the Fusion, and they are going to be able to make sure that they maintain this advantage that they build up for themselves on the point.
Oh, nice kill from Alarm onto Monk there, but I'm not sure it's actually going to matter. Leave still getting damage boosted, so Carpe has to back off. Nice EMP from Jinmu too. If worse comes to worse, you can just put Jinmu on the point and just hit the Q button. 3 people got hacked, and especially Hopper as well. You have no defensive tools, and you're such a big hitbox for the Ashes to shoot at. Your life is as good as dead as soon as you get EMP'd, or just manual hack, to be fair. 10% to go. Flux and Mines online. Hunters have so many tools in the bank, and they're just relying on this bomb from Carpe to do the work for Fusion.
especially here, that the Bob is going to have to try to attack on some of that damage, and the Gravitic Flux, though, is going to stop Carpe, get that follow. Carpe took a lot of that damage initially, but Elsa also cleans up Rascal. That's both DPS out, and Hoppa has that Discord orb on him. Both the tanks, they're so low. Alarm is trying to build into that Transcendence. His positioning is phenomenal. They're trying to be as safe as possible, but Toby goes down, and that just leaves Alarm for the sustainability. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough. The overtime now ticking away as the Hunters, they clean up around the Fusion.
Yeah, I mean, if the Fusion won that somehow with just the Bob, I would have eaten a hat. Like, there is absolutely no way you win that. Plus, having the Sigma alive there at the very end, even if the ball gets taken down and he has mines, you can just move into a position with the Sigma if you're the Mercy player and just get the Resurrection off basically for free. Elsa can just look at the Mercy, use the Grasp to eat any of the damage. He can use the Rock for the CC if the ball flies in. Of course, then the Shield to kind of guard that res as well. Gargar got up, put mines on the field, and that was basically as good as dead. I mean, Fusion got more kills than I expected, to be honest, but that was just kind of miracle picks and just mechanical skill that really carried them, or attempted to carry them at the very end there.
Yeah, especially since when Hunters were able to take that point, they really did push their advantage, and they essentially forced the Fusion coming in one by one, and they still found those picks coming in. You see this high ground positioning, though, to try to give in some of that sustainability over to Elsa, and as Gaga gets into position here, the Fusion, they are trying to hold on to the split attention that we are seeing. Rascal's also on the Echo, though, so something didn't take note of to try to negate Jinmu on the Pharah.
Yeah, Mano is already dead, though. I mean, an easy hack from Leave and then Elsa finishing him off. Alarm does find Gaga with a point unlocking. Fusion have to be able to touch in time. And Jinmu, double direct in the air? No, that must have been a hack, actually, because Sombra's actually in the assist feed onto Toby. But still, double direct, a little bit of extra damage from Leave. What an unbelievable long-range rocket. And that leaves your Echo just high and dry. And now Jinmu can basically do what he wants. Points unlocked, and Mano is contesting, but it should be an easy cap for the Hunters now.
I'm glad you made note of that. It's even though, even if we saw Toby get hacked there, and falling the direct hit that we saw from Jinmu, he's been able to consistently get that, and his accuracy with those rockets is just crazy. Absolutely, the fact that he's able to just track so well with those projectiles is just insane. And here you have Leave, though, on the backlines trying to find the supports, caught off guard, is able to also retell that positioning to the rest of the Hunters, gets stunned out of that, but Leave isn't gonna fall through. Instead, Jinmu has that rocket barrage, and I'm scared right now here, Jaws, because Fusion, they're over funneled into this side room, and Jinmu is still in the high ground, but now Carpe finds him. That's the best situation that the Fusion could find themselves for. Somebody stop Carpe, though. Nisha finds that pick off of Nisha because of the fact that Nisha overcommitted to getting that res and keep Jinmu into the fight. Now, though, that sustainability for Jinmu isn't going to be online, and they may want to give this respect over to the Fusion.
Oh, man, if there's one DPS you want to nano, it's definitely Carpe. There's the EMP, though.
Oh, big EMP, though, finding 4. Rascal does go in for the duplicate to make up for Carpe's loss. Unfortunately, him falling down to the spawn. Rascal already building up that Diva mech as Echo gets those ultimates rather quickly now. But you can see the way that Rascal's just pressuring the backline. That's the priority right here, right before getting right back into the Echo form.
He can't kill
Monk.
Monk.
Onto Rascal. Monk, all right, I see you, but everyone's dying, and that's the split attention that you don't want to be forced with when you're getting chased down by Rascal. Not only did some of the Hunters fall through, but Fusion, they made their way over, they clean up around Monk, and they have some of those ultimates to work with now.
I cannot believe he couldn't kill Monk there. That was ridiculous. He just survived for so long. He shouldn't have been there. And they gained a lot of extra percent for that too. 71% online for the Hunters at this current time. Leave, unfortunately, not really near the EMP. They're looking for this nano barrage again, I can imagine. Carpe's nearing the Deadeye to zone everything out, though. But Leaf, once more, looking for a hack on somebody. He lands on the Ana, but can the follow-up really land? High Noon in the skies. Can he get one? No, he can't. That was so close. Jinmu and Nisha just narrowly dodge out of the way of the High Noon from Carpe.
That positioning, that's something else. Jinmu is just so absolutely insane when it comes to positioning. We saw it being able to boot themselves out of that situation, but Rascal finding 2 here. Rascal goes down, but being able to get that good trade. Monk gets right back into the fight, prioritizing the support, so that way Nisha's not left with all the duty work, but Jinmu's going to be able to come right back in with a barrage.
Yeah, not too bad whatsoever. Leave's taking a long time to build up towards these EMPs, mind you. Half the time he's just kind of sat invisible, waiting for these dives. Nano barrage though coming in. Jinmu's looking for targets.
It's about sending a message, and Jinmu not only getting nano boosted, being around, and now pulling the trigger on the rocket barrage, just trying to control that space instead, as they are trying to make sure they pull up this advantage as far as possible. And for as long as possible, Mono's gonna fall through, and Hoppa's coming out of the spawn. Now this space is being controlled here, as Jinmu is still terrorizing these front lines up in the air with some of that support from Nisha.
God, I'm looking at Jinmu's stats right now. He almost has 40 rocket direct hits, almost 10k damage per 10 too. This guy is absolutely nuts on the Pharah. And now with 95% of building up, leave with the EMP as well. Fusion have got an upwards hill battle.
Now coming in, Hoppa does have that Diva Bomb coming alive to go in for that reset. The overtime is on board. They need to stay on this point. Here comes a Fusion, but the EMP finding both the supports too at the same time. That's Carpet going down, but Hoppa off to the side and followed up by Mono. Being able to find Monk, that's huge here, but Nisha at least has the Valk with a big anti onto Jinmu. This allows the Fusion to take this control over the point and also make sure that overtime isn't so much of a threat.
Yeah, actually unbelievable from Hoppa. It gives me flashbacks of the first homestand in 2020 when he was playing for New York Excelsior. That self-destruct hitting 2 people right there just negated anything that Leaf could do. He got a 3-man EMP and on both the supports as well, and no one could follow up. That bomb was just stupendous. Overtime is nearing as well for the Fusion here. They have High Noon. High Noon Deadeye with the Nano. A High Noon Deadeye with the Nano? You know what I mean. A Deadeye with the Nano. Oh my word. Nisha was not long for this earth.
And a quick nap too, Gaga, and he's gone. He's definitely sleeping with the fishes, more like it. And now going onto the point, Fusion, they're looking fantastic. This situation, especially taking out care of Nisha first there, was a big... Oh, that bomb still found Mono, though, despite him trying to take some cover. The rocket barrage, no, oh my gosh, no! But he's gone! He's gone! That sleep! Alarm! I got my eyes on you, and that was absolutely humongous. Now Carpe gonna get a follow-up, and they're cleaning up the point around the Hunters. This is no surprise to see right now, Jaws, between a series like this to state who is going to be the best team in APAC region. Overall, though, the Fusion, they take the first map in the series.
Oh my word, at the end there, Jinmu's like, I gotta do something with the barrage, man, but he's right on top of the well. Instant sleep dart, thank you very much, says Alarm. That was insane. And the big turning point was the Hoppa bomb, the Hoppa 2K with the self-destruct. Mono was then able to follow up, get an extra kill as well. Leave, EMP, that was the tool that they had to win. They managed to find 2 supports in the backline EMP, so they can't throw armor packs out, they can't use the shield, they can't use the nade or the sleep. That's the perfect time for the tanks to jump in and just assassinate them. But by the time he already threw out the EMP, Hopper had already killed 2 with the self-destruct. It was the perfect recipe for success for the Fusion. Oh boy, we've got a series on our hands, Vicky. We'll jump to a quick break though, don't go anywhere. Map number 2 coming up soon.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
2-0, making mincemeat of the opposition. This was what we were promised when this guy was joining the league.
Perfect stuff from Funny Astro.
Mano, that is filthy.
Plants the sticky bombs. Great stuff from Shockwave.
As Rascal makes his mark.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Chengdu Hunters versus the Philadelphia Fusion. Currently, though, this is going to be a series in the books, though, Jazz, because Fusion, they're up 1-0 within the series thus far. But sound the alarms. What a way to make a statement at the very end of Well.
Yeah, that looked, that was a crazy set of maps. Unbelievable. So many small little plays, a lot of highlights as well. I'm sure a lot of those will be posted on social media for the next couple of weeks. That is most definite, especially Alarm. It's a nice little sleep on Jinmu at the very end to sink him right down the pit as he was barraging. Hotba with the self-destruct as well. And even Leave, of course, getting big EMPs. But it was Philadelphia Fusion that came out on top and now lead the series. So, Hunters, they came into today only losing one map, and that was to the Valiant the other week, and now they've lost their second of the 2021 season to Fusion. Can the Fusion keep this momentum rolling? We'll have to wait and see. We spoke very briefly on it before at the start of the series, but Hunters, they got a deep hero pool, and they got a deep bench as well. They can sub in a lot of people, so I can imagine going into the next map, we're going to see a few changes.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we actually see Jimmy coming right back. You know, he didn't get to play too much yesterday, but, you know, if he gets to play a little bit longer today, then we'll definitely take that, especially with the Fusion already holding the lead within the series.
Yeah, it looks like Jimmy is coming in. Jinmu's taking a back seat now. And I don't know what map it is next. We'll get onto that very shortly. But, man, Chengdu Hunters, again, showing their prowess on the ball. But Philadelphia Fusion, they had a game plan in mind. And it was down to, like, small individual plays at the very end of it. Just kind of counteracting what Leave was doing. And to be honest, Leave was playing a little bit more passive than I thought he would. And potentially of what I liked either. Like, he's sitting at the back waiting for these hacks, and then of course the Wrecking Ball Gargar is just going to jump in, hopefully just follow up with some damage. But more often than not, especially on Well, he was kind of just milling around, and I want to see this ult generation of how much damage he was doing, because it wasn't quick by the slightest, and I want to know how much impact that was actually having to the... Sorry, I want to show you how much impact it was actually getting, because it didn't really seem like much. Maybe it's finding a hack then a kill, but not charging up EMP, your main tool against big, strong dive targets like Winston, like Wrecking Ball, like Diva. One hack, yeah, it's great, but you want these EMPs to make these fights extremely definitive.
I'm actually really glad that you brought that up, because it seemed as if they were just trying to enable Jinmu in a very similar fashion that we had seen Alarm make sure that Carpe really focused down the threat that was Nisha and Jinmu, prioritizing Nisha rather with that Deadeye after getting nano boosted. That was also to save Carpe at the same time at the very end, because he was taking in a lot of damage from Jinmu, who was quite literally looking at him and trying to contest him with those direct rocket hits that we've seen time and time before. But now going on to the next map, obviously that plan for the Hunters, it didn't work out for them. Instead, though, the Fusion, I like the way that they're trying to build into having Carpe be the focus down onto Jinmu. And if Carpe makes sure that Jinmu isn't as big as a threat that we've seen Jinmu be in the past within the last 2 weeks, that is going to be really harsh on the Hunters, and they're going to have to readapt around Fusion's game plan.
Yeah, sorry for the small mistake on the little graphics there. Of course, this isn't a hybrid map. This is an escort. I think there were a couple of them were swapped around there, but I'm sure we'll get that sorted. No worries. Looks like Philadelphia Fusion are on the defense first up now. So full hold here, or attempted full hold with the rush comp. Got Carpe on the Kree, Rascal on the May, and they've got Jimmy in, which means, yeah, leave Farah to start it off, and Jimmy onto the Sombra, get one hack. And who's going to sit in the skybox? Yeah, it's going to be Leave. A very, very good way of actually dislodging this full hold. Slide. I love when Divas do that. Just slide down the top, and wow, Leave dies. That was a body shot from Carpe, or a headshot, and then Alarm just finishing him off with the 3-shot.
Quite literally finish him, just played out right there for the Fusion. And that was a great start already holding this defense. And
I really like what Hopper's doing, by the way. I'm sorry, but
yeah,
he's permanently sticking himself to the roof. And that cooldown, every time the thrusters disappear, that cooldown is obviously engaging, right? So he's just sitting up top, sliding down, using it again, sliding down, using it again to stay up there to try and check lead.
Yeah, and aside from that, it's also splitting up some of that attention, and meanwhile, you have the rest of the Fusion cleaning up the ground from the Hunters, and this is not a great start if you're the Hunters. They're making some swaps over now, but they can't even see the light of day beyond the spawn.
Yeah, they're looking for Jimmy to find a hack and then Leave to kill them, but the problem is Leave is getting out of the spawn doors and then almost instantly dying, and now they're switching over, they're going Brawl of their own, they've had enough, but with a minute and 30 seconds almost already gone, like, this is a very big win for the Fusion because they're going to have ults online way quicker now.
Especially with this May Wall. It's an ice cream sandwich here, and Gaga becomes a first victim to it. The immortality is going to help keep Fusion alive. I love the falls that we're seeing, though, and that's 2 members down for the Hunters, and a bunch of ultimates coming alive for the Fusion. This is not a great situation to be in, especially with the timer ticking away at 2 minutes and less than 15 seconds on board.
Yeah, this is ridiculous, because now not using any ults in that last fight, they've got ults now, so they'll win this fight, and the upcoming fight, if they only manage to use Blizzard, they're going to also be able to win. We're looking at almost near overtime before it gets around the first corner, it feels like, for Hunters, even if they do manage to control the payload. They do end up walling and using the window, and now the rest of the Hunters are going to have to scurry back to spawn. This is another like 15 seconds or so that they're going to have to regroup and wait for the window to disappear, and then formulate their engage once again.
At least, though, with Nisha on the Lucio to help build them right back in. Another double Maywalk coming alive, and this is going to be an ultimate buffet going forward. Luckily, that immortality field coming alive from Monk, though, helps keep the sustainability. I like the way they're playing this part, but you see Mono, he has the shatter. Oh, wait, the wall actually stopped him! His own wall! His own May wall stopped the shatter potential, and the Blizzard now came online. Rascal's like, don't worry, man, I got this. And Mono is probably not very happy about that one, especially considering he was set up for the perfect position for that shatter.
Okay, shake it off, it's fine. Get out of your head, Mano. We won the fight in the end, you know. We got Blizzard out and Rascal managed to clean on up. Alarm's almost got another window, a beat for Toby. They're going to have to beat the Blizzard, that's going to be the name of the game, but Gaga's going to go down rather quickly if they don't deal with him.
Like, yeah, top 10 enemy betrayals. And
okay,
Rascal does
dead.
fall
This
through here. Yeah, Rascal, and this is now the opportunity. Oh, but Carpe does trade that for Gaga, and that is not a trade that you want.
Actually, doesn't matter.
What? The Fusion, what are they? I cannot believe what I am seeing right now, Jaws. The way that they are actually keeping
that Blizzard was,
the Hunters
oh my
stuck.
god, they actually used Blizzard. He actually used the one tool that they needed. He used it 1v5 in a corner, and everybody else just ran away. That is not the best use of Blizzard if you are Jimmy right there. I mean, I guess they get a little bit of space, yes, because the rest of the Fusion were having to chase him in that small corner, but look at the pacing now.
Oh, that was a great shutdown right there, but Leave actually paid for that. I mean, was it worth it? They stopped Carpe's Deadeye. They were trying to put Carpe in position with the speed boost, but now Carpe, he's still in this fight. Meanwhile, Leave hasn't even been able to build up this Deadeye. They're trying to control this corner, giving some of that extra space over to the Hunters, but now with overtime on board here, Joss, this is going to be a do or die. The Shatter coming in and being able to find it because of the fact he elevated himself. A Shatter for a Shatter, though, that does find 3, but luckily the sound barrier from Toby is going to allow the rest of Fusion to stay in this fight. No one's fallen down just yet. It's just a matter of positioning, and the respect, though, Hoppa does fall through, and that's a number disadvantage already set up for the Fusion. This is finally looking great, though, for the Hunters, where they're trying to quite literally claw their way back onto this payload. They have to respect that window, though, right behind
Carpe
Lee.
just killed
They're
2 in the
still
back line.
Carpe! Carpe has been able to clean up this back line, whereas you have Leave trying to put in so much of this work, and they're still finding these picks, Jaws.
This is ridiculous. Rascal then used the Blizzard, and they're just going to win the fight. Carpe found 2, and he found the most important target as well in Monk. Also gets demexed. He's dead. This is it. Fusion. Vicky, they're going to hold right here. Self-destruct kills Jimmy. Goodbye, Hunters. What an absolute nightmare. Oh my word. Carpe flanked. When he saw his Ryan going down and when he saw his team kind of tiltering off and like, okay, we kind of have to back off now, he was like, no, I'm going to take the game into my own hands. I'm just going to go up top left. I'm going to flank. And he found 2 picks, and that left enough time as well for Rascal to then build Blizzard. So Carpe finds 2 picks, then the added Blizzard comes on top, and then it was just pressure. There was like nothing the Hunters could feasibly do to win that fight. Jimmy, somewhere in amongst that too, I believe, after he used the Blizzard, switched to Widowmaker to try and find picks, and then he was playing a little bit of like hero roulette. He attempted to get a pick on the Widow, and then he had to switch over to the Kree, and then they were speeding in. Like, there was lots of small mishaps by the Hunters, but it was just mainly on the Fusion, just understanding how their ult economy was working, especially at that forward hold. What an unbelievable showcase from the Philadelphia Fusion forward holding Havana.
What a statement to make, too. I mean, if that wasn't one, they took the first map and now they're going to enter the second map like this? I mean, they were able to push the payload a little bit, what looked to be a really scary situation with the Hunters quite literally getting stuck in their own spawn. Now, they were at least, they got some extra credit. They didn't get, to point A, but, it's still very doable if they could try to hold them right here in a very similar fashion now. Going forward, it really is a do or die.
Okay, I was really concerned there. Well, not concerned. I was interested to see if Carpe was just going to TP out. That wouldn't make much sense. Like, how much space you're really going to gain for the TP. You still need to touch the payload kind of thing. Just interesting if they had anything surprising I wasn't aware of. Carpe's on the flank, by the way. He is literally behind them, chunking them out, but Manu does end up dying.
He gets caught off by Nisha right there, at least. And the rest of the follow-up, though, coming in.
Yeah, but see, he's still going.
Freeze? He has been unstoppable right now, Jaws. He's still finding these picks. He's now found Nisha, and Nisha's been trying to communicate to the rest of the Hunters that Carpe is cleaning up the entire team while you guys are busy. Carpe is right there.
Hey, Vicky, guess what? If you win a fight, guess how much ult charge you got? Yeah, you got more than the other team. That's what the answer is to that one. I think any Overwatch player can answer that question. I mean, and now look at the orange box of victory for the Fusion. Carpe is going to be out to Deadeye to make sure that the space is created. Alarm almost has the window. Final fight is approaching for Vicky.
And the Deadeye to control that space. He didn't touch the point there. Great block, though, eating up most of that Deadeye as they are trying to rotate to the back. The Immortality field.
Leave's already dead.
Though. Leave is gone, and the Shatter at least does find Mono. Alarm is going to go down, but that's a lot of that focus onto Alarm, whereas you have Carpe and Hoppa still cleaning up around the Hunters. Once again, this is a team that has been so dominating within the APAC region, and meanwhile, you have Fusion coming around, meeting up with them to make sure that they're the ones that are going to be claiming the throne. They take the second map, and not so much of a speed run, but a very convincing win.
Wow, I mean, close enough to a speedrun.
Close enough, right? It's like right there. The way that they
close.
did, they were like, all right, guys, it's time for lunch soon.
All right, yeah, we need some break. Can we get some snacks up in here or something? Like, I'm really hungry. Let me just finish this map real quick. Like, that was just absurd. Fusion played that just unbelievably well. It was a bit of a shame that Hunters came out with an idea that they wanted to play the Pharah, and they wanted to just punish this forward hold. Problem was, Alarm and Carpe had the number, and Hopper too, just playing on that roof, just it accelerated their way to victory, because then Hunters had to switch. They were buying in ults, and it was just a big snowball from there. And even in that last fight too, of course, they had to blow the wall really early. They had to blow the speed boost as well, a very, very good tool to get onto the backline of the Brawl comps because of that Deadeye from Carpe. Even with the kill onto Alarm, it was just Rascal building up Blizzard. There are so many things right now going right for the Fusion.
After that performance, too, from Carpe, quite literally getting away with murder. Nisha saw him for some time and was like, guys, there's a problem going on here, and no one looked at Carpe. It was too late. By the time they tried to fixate that attention, I mean, they cleaned things up so well,
and we need to kill him.
And he got away with it for so long. Either way, you know what? Fusion, they're up 2-0 in the series. It's match point for the Philadelphia Fusion, and we're going on to the next map at the other side of this short break. Don't go anywhere.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile.
match point for the Fusion now as they may hand Chengdu Hunters their first loss of the 2021 season. We're about to jump into map number 3. It's going to be Voskaya as our assault map. And oh boy, was that a clinic on Havana. That forward hold just resulting in a very clean victory for the Fusion. Yeah, the Hunters, they're definitely trying to bandage their wounds right now.
Yeah, the Hunters, they came in with a game plan and were immediately shut out of it. And by the time they made some of those adjustments, the time bank was just taking away from them. The pressure was still on. They, you had the Fusion still having a bunch of those ultimates to still keep the Hunters in their spawn for the Hunters' attack attempt. Overall, though, this is a great sign for the Fusion. I mean, they're up 2-0 currently. The Hunters, they're potentially on the brink of losing their first series so far in the season.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy to think about, actually, considering how well they've done over the past couple of weeks. You could almost argue that it's against, or at least against one of the teams, which is going to be more at the bottom of the pack, APAC in Valiant. But they did manage to shut out the Dragons at the very start of the season. I mean, that is something to write home about, that is for sure. We're jumping into Voskaya as our next one, and it does look like, in fact, maybe Jinmu is stepping back in and Jimmy stepping away. So, Jimmy, unfortunately, mate, yeah, Havana didn't go away. So, Jinmu, you're in.
He's barely been able to
Voskaya.
play. I feel
I honestly think it's... Yeah, I think it's just Jinmu coming in just to play the Fire here on Voskaya. Like, especially on the defense, it's pretty easy to play. If you don't automatically give up the very, very front gate, although that can be quite difficult if they are playing Brawl. They can just kind of run at you, but then you also have the skybox is pretty tall, and there are a couple of buildings you can kind of hide around from the hit scan DPS. Interesting to see if Fusion are just going to be running the dive or the Brawl, because Brawl right now is just perfect for their wheelhouse. I don't think they're going to run anything else, to be honest with you. It's up to the Chengdu Hunters now to surprise us just a little bit. Gaga's been performing okay, I will say. I know we picked up the Hunters a lot a bit ago, but they are obviously very, very comfortable on this kind of dive. We'll leave on the Sombra, and then Gaga being able to jump in after the hacks come through, but it has been a little bit rough, at least on Havana, but they can bounce back. It is a possibility, but right now, yeah, Fusion sitting on match point.
I just think right now, the Philadelphia Fusion, they've taken notes on what's been going on with the Hunters, and not only have they been really focusing on allowing Carpe to shine, but you take a look at Alarm and Hotba and the way that they've been able to negate Hunter's approach between the Pharah, between managing to focus down Nisha. It's kind of putting a dent to what's been allowing Hunter to really shine through thus far within the season. I think that's the biggest problem right now, because it's just forcing the Hunters to readapt around what was working for them for quite some time, and now it's just completely getting shut out by Carpe and the rest of Fusion, who've just been able to allow him to really shine on that McCree.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You saw Nisha. I like you mentioned Nisha there as well, because on the offense of Philadelphia Fusion, he was like the only one to kind of peek his head around and be like, whoa, I need to like boot Carpe away or like do something, distract him just a little bit so my team can have a little bit of a reprieve. But yeah, it's not much he could do against a McCree. Like, oh, would you dance in front of his face, get flashbang? No, you just trying to boop him away, just fire a few Cheerios at him, like maybe he ends up backing off. But it's a tough job for Nisha, just try and stop Carpe from doing Carpe things, really. Speaking of Carpe, let's have a look at that defense. He's running the Ashe with the damage boost. Hotba's just going to be forming a nice little protective barrier in front of him. Another, we mentioned before, in NYXL's game, they just kind of want to move as a small unit around the high ground and stop Jinmu from doing all of anything. CV onto the high ground for Elsa, though, so he can have a little peek. Okay, now they're switching up. Okay, no, so they see Carpe on the Ashe. They say, absolutely not today. We'll put Leave on the Ashe to match him and just go mirror comps almost. It's just the Sombra and Tracer. That's the little difference here.
Yeah, and you have Nisha to help given some of that damage boost over to Leave. But Toby's going to match that as well with Carpe. Currently see Jimmy already getting set up into position, and the position that we're seeing though from Fusion rather on that high ground, they are going to try to get contested though as Gaga makes his way over to the back line.
Okay, they've got a little bit of point presence already. Not too bad whatsoever. Jimmy could play a rather defensive style in Sombra here as well if he really wanted to, just kind of waiting for Mano to jump him with Rascal and going for the hacks, but ideally you just want to find your own way if you're the Sombra. I'm just kind of keeping an eye on his ult charge and seeing how he's playing. This is very indicative of how a Sombra is playing, just looking at the ult charge. Mane was going pretty low, however, off to the sidelines, and Rusk ends up taking down Gaga. So yeah, not a good start for the Hunters currently. A minute has been expended already from their time bank, and look at this hunting now for the supports.
Oh no,
the wall clip!
No, is that a bait too? Knowing that Gaga was right there positioned, you actually saw the way that you had Rascal make their way over, but they are losing so many members. The way that they could come right back, Gaga actually getting back into the fight, made sure, Nisha, you didn't go down for no reason. I actually came back, trying to completely clear this point and allowed the rest of Hunters to make their way into that point. I mean, what looked to be a really strong defense from the Fusion now has been shut down after that res that we just saw from Nisha, allowing Gaga to pop off.
Oh, Gaga's so good, man. The single time I'm like, man, Gaga didn't have a very good Havana. He's like, yeah, well, Voskai's pretty good too, and he just ends up demolishing the backline. That was pretty nice. It looked like there Toby went for the instant resurrection on alarm, which sometimes is a mistake, especially when Ball's hiding around the corner. So nice work for Jinmu there. He did actually take the mega health back away from the Philadelphia Fusion. But mine's on the point, and a resurrection onto Gaga, using all that space, and a kill onto Toby. This is a very good start for Hunters. Hey, they're looking to come back. EMP's going to come out, hit Jinmu. Oh, can he actually get anybody? I don't think they hit anybody, actually.
Trendsetters, at least to try to keep the rest of them alive. I mean, they already got the first take right now, Jaws, and they're still attacking on this pressure. Now with the Bob from Leave, it's going to be difficult for the rest of Fusion to contest this, but they got to touch the point nonetheless. Don't want to give this away for free, but wow, the immediate annihilation between Toby and Rascal. That's unfortunate, but now looking at this time bank that we have right now, the Hunters just build up for themselves. They're looking strong, and they're not going down without a fight.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check a replay on that EMP. I was actually looking at something else. Maybe it actually caught Hotba when he was using the Flux. Regardless, though, I don't think the Flux did any amount of damage whatsoever. I would, yeah, I need to go double check that. But, I mean, attacking or like getting your point back from a team that has a Sombra, nigh impossible. There's almost no way. Like Wrecking Ball obviously goes in, the classic stall hero spins around the point or whatever. You're going to get hacked up, you're going to get insta-killed. Toby going down super early on as well means Alarm is very, very vulnerable. Fragile Zenyatta on the back line, and he's going to get almost instantly doped by Gaga. There was really not much they could do after that. Toby, in a sense, on the Brigitte is the backbone of this composition in the way that he can basically stand in front of Alarm and be his personal bodyguard and make sure the Rascal is health, you know, make sure he's topped off all the time by giving him health packs and armor packs. It's a job not for the faint of heart, that is for sure, because a lot of people do want to kill you. But Toby getting taken down so early is disastrous. You're almost in a lose-lose situation there because Gaga can insta-kill Alarm on the Zenyatta. We'll see what they want to do on their offense, though, as the same kind of thing, as we expected, was going to come out from the Hunters on their defense, running the Pharah, and then leave on the Widowmaker, sitting all the way back. I like Elsa's pick, though, on the Diva to make sure he can provide a little bit more protection for the supports, as well as leaving Jinmu, too. You've got to think of the defense matrix. You can bathe your Pharah in that if he gets spotted. Speaking about not getting spotted, Gaga playing a little bit of Solid Snake.
They're not going to know.
A little bit of Metal Gear Solid action. How have they not spotted him? He is, to be fair, oh well, I guess we're the only people that see the skins, the team skins. I was going to say white on the snow makes sense, but they see like a default Wrecking Ball. No real excuse for that. Oh, and Carpe instantly dies.
Oh, what a way to open things up after quite literally staring at Fusion in the face for so long. After losing Carpe, they got walled in, and now they're trying to rotate over.
Carpe's going Sombra Vicky, by the way, because he knows he can't come back as the Kree.
Rascal gets hit with a big anti, though. He does survive, and luckily Alarm and Toby are right there to help out with that sustainability, building some of the ultimates. Now Jaws, here comes Jinmu, though. He's still trying to make sure to pressure down Fusion as they are approaching the point already at this time, and Leaf gets that pick off of Rascal. That's going to be big because they won't have to worry about those walls, trying to isolate some of the members of their team, although Elsa does get hacked, but doesn't manage to come back again with Monk actually helping them out. Currently, though, Hoppa has found Jinmu, and Nisha's right there. Doesn't want to overextend at the same time. Gaga gets stunned, and that's both DPS out and about. Nisha tacked on a lot of that damage, but actually got out of that situation in time. repositioned, and here comes Gaga. Again, somebody stop the tank lineup between the Hunters, because currently they're creating not only so much space, but finding these picks that unfortunately their DPS had fallen too early to get for them.
Gaga, how many kills has he found this fight already? Like, excuse me? This guy's an absolute monster. He's actually going to haunt their dreams for the rest of time, it feels like. Elsa is going to get Nano. He's going to fly himself on the point. 2 minutes do remain for the Fusion. Manu picks up 2 at least, and this is a final chance to... Oh, okay. He attempted to spawn camp Nisha, but Nisha just used ult to get back to point. Pretty intelligent use, actually. He does get hacked in the skies, but still pistol whipping people away.
They're just like, get away from me, please. I'm just trying to play. Oh my god, he gets
I'm sad.
He almost, nah, he was definitely gonna get body blocked with anything right there. I mean, they were managed to just make sure that Nisha had nowhere to go. And here comes Jinmu trying to get that revenge with the Rocket Barrage, finding Rascal. They're still on the point right now, but you could see the way that the Hunters are positioned. They can at least try to contest, just destroy the translocator at the same time. And Carpe had nowhere to go. Carpe's out, and Mono's taking a quick nap. Big EMP, though, that landed onto the Hunters, finding 3, actually causing Monk to fall through, and Elsa gets demeched as well as meets Monk in that spawn. Jinmu somehow survives here, and the coalescence to keep the survivability of the rest of the Fusion is alive, and the ult economy is also going to go in their favor while they take this first point.
Yeah, that fight lasted how long? Like a minute, maybe more? Like, that was insane. The stall there from the Hunters is ridiculous. Now look at their time bank. They got 3.5 minutes to go. They're going to just plant themselves right on the point. All go buttons now are being pressed by the Fusion. Oh, there's a Torb. Okay, Jinmu's Torb is actually elite. Watch this. Oh, his turret's dead.
The turret. Watch the turret just goes away, Hoppa, utilizing that Diva Bomb. But Big EMP finding 3. Not going to get a follow-up, though, as the sound barrier from Toby helps keep the Fusion grounded here. Now, Rascal going all in, does find Gaga, one of the biggest threats we've seen thus far, waits out for that Meg to come in, but Elsa gets healed immediately with Monk activating the Nano Boost right onto Elsa to hold on to this point. They find Toby here, and they're not giving up too easily. Hunters, they're really low on health right now, and that's why you see them trying to scurry around and actually displace themselves so that way they're not focused down.
Yeah, actual cowardice there by Monk, not nanoing Jinmu. Pretty sad to see, not gonna lie. Just nano hammer running at the back line, easy peasy. I want to see if Jinmu's actually going to stay on this Torb. It's pretty good at like negating someone like a Monkey or a Diva. As soon as that bubble gets chunked out or the defense matrix is low, it's just a constant source of damage that your healers have to kind of deal with. Alarm is sticking on this. There's been so many swaps, by the way. It's been hard to kind of keep track of them all. Alarm's on the Moira to get back to the first point really quickly when they were trying to cap. He now has the coalescence for a second time around, so he wants to stick on it. Carpe has the EMP available to him. He's put the translocator down in a very, very safe spot, so he's going to be able to unleash that pretty quickly. But taking down someone like a Torb, especially if you see that EMP coming, you can hit E, and you get sped up and gain a whole bunch of extra armor too. Here comes the engage.
Here comes Fusion now. Hoppa, he does survive thanks to that coalescence too, coming alive, but unfortunately, wait, he fell back?
I think he's resetting. There's like no way he's not resetting there. He was in the backline coalescing a turret. Like that is, that is a please report alarm for like trolling with Moira, you know? Yeah, okay, he's swapping. I think they kind of understood there that the dive just didn't really work out, and they weren't going to. They didn't really want to invest the EMPs. They're like, okay, we're just going to reset. We're going to go again. We've only got a couple of more shots at this. Coalescence. I'm in the wrong place. It's not healing anybody. I'm killing the turret. Like I'm just going to jump off for that reset. Carpe, luckily enough, like I mentioned, still has the EMP. I'd be worried though, because if this fight goes for any much longer, Vicky, Monk is 30% away from Transcendence. A few headshots will do, and he will get that online, so watch out for that.
Carpe holding on to that EMP. Just
see, 20%, like, he is very close.
Yeah, it's just a matter if he could actually tack on that extra damage. I mean, but look at the ult economy, regardless if the Hunters are holding on to. It's going to be tough, and Alarm is going to be around. Gaga had different plans, sending them off the map, and with the minefields, he could actually stop their rotation back onto this point. Here currently with a Fusion, they're not trying to overextend. They don't want to waste any more time to try to take this point, and they're still staggered through. Rascal's going to go for a reset, but that's going to be Toby falling through to leave.
Yeah. So, like I said, you've got to keep an eye on Monk's ult charge there, and just getting a single pick and it being Alarm as well. Yeah, perfect. Monk definitely going to get the Transcendence. All he needs to do now is hide, make sure he doesn't get hit with the EMP and insta-die, and then just hit the Transcendence as soon as the EMP comes out. The only thing I'm really worried about now is the fact that Nisha's not really near the rally, but with 60 seconds to go, and even Jinmu having the Molten Core as well, he can put that on point and deny so much space. It's a very worrying time for the Fusion now, and they're going to look at nothing more than a draw here, Vicky.
Yeah, you can see Carpe's trying to get into position to at least get a fat EMP. This could make it or break it to allow the Fusion to try to move right back in before going all the way in. Though Gaga does find a big EMP coming in. It does find Gaga and Jinmu and Nisha. Nisha falls through, but doesn't find Monk, and that actually allows Monk to utilize a Transcendence to keep the rest of the team alive. Trading though with the Deadeye, finding a 1-for-1, and now the Transcendence coming in from Alarm. Toby's going to be able to help out the survivability with the rally. They're trying to dig right in, and the Primal to reset. The overtime is taking away, and the Fusion are trying their best to stay on this point. They do find Gaga, and that's going to be big with the rest of Hunters making their way over, but they're losing members, and they're losing members fast. What looked to be a bad situation for the Fusion has now been reversed, whereas they followed up from Carp's EMP, and they clean up the point.
All right, nice. They cleaned up, but like I mentioned before, they're playing for a draw now. 4 minutes and 23 seconds. They'll be lucky to hold on to 33%. I mean, it was just small pickoffs that really helped Hunters just extend that time bank that the Philly Fusion had. I mean, even Carpe holding onto that EMP, it's not great, but we saw before, Alarm resetting with the Coalescence. Oh my word. So he was just hiding in the corner. I mean, that is just
the Gaga special.
Yeah, hiding in a corner, use the grappling hook, bada bing, bada boom. Alarm takes a drink of ice cold water, gets brain freeze, and unfortunately, that did result in them capping in OT. And 4 minutes, 23 seconds? Yeah, on Voskaya 2, there's almost no hope. There is a very, very slim chance that they do hold on to this point, and Hunters see themselves getting a map in this series.
Just making some quick swaps here. Fusion, they got it together, but now having to play for best the draw is unfortunate. All that work here, and meanwhile, you have the Hunters. They wasted quite literally no time on the attack. That time bank that they have to work with currently, and it's going to be scary, especially seeing now that the Hunters, they're getting themselves back together. They know the Fusion, they're up 2-0 in the series, and this is their opportunity to try to reverse that situation back in their favor.
Yeah, a draw would be fantastic, but one pick here is good enough. Just go for heroes that have almost instant value. Jinmu being on Sombra, pretty good. He's almost dead. I don't know how he almost take all that damage, but there you go. Okay, leaf switches over from the sim. No real shock there either. Same kind of comp too. So damage boost onto Leave. And, well, the idea here, set Leave up on the high ground, have Nisha just pocket him, and then Jinmu and Gaga set up these dives. And it's going to be a lot easier as well, considering the positioning, actually, of the Fusion. They're all on low ground. They don't really want to touch it at all. Mano is the only one up there, and he's just tickling Jinmu a little bit there, just as he rolls past him.
Yeah, narrowly missing him
Nice
there,
dive
but
there.
Leave doesn't get missed out because Carpe is out here cleaning him up, and that's both supports also down. It's going to be a reset for the Hunters, and Fusion now, they're taking some of that extra time that they build up for themselves rather quickly.
Yeah, Mano is dead, but he is on Wrecking Ball, so he's going to be able to get back to the point ASAP, and there's no Lucio on the side of the Hunters, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. So just an EMP, that's all Jinmu needs to end this fight and end this map. 56% of the way there already. Nisha switching over to the Brigitte to protect Monk. And Gaga is in a lot of trouble. Not quite body blocked, he's able to snake his way through.
He still took a lot of that damage, at least managing to go right back to Monk and Nisha to build into some of those ultimates, especially that Transcendence. The Pulse Bomb coming in from the high ground, not going to find anything. Trying to get a dunk or something over there. Meanwhile, here comes Carpe, finding two onto Gaga and Jinmu. Elsa has a Discord orb on them and currently getting stunned out of that though. Carpe's
Toby's
one,
dead.
he has a Deadeye. Toby's gone, and that just leaves Alarm. At least Alarm has a Transcendence, but Toby has to make their way right back to the spawn. Despite getting some of those picks here, you still have Elsa making their way onto the point, and I like the disengage that we're having. It forces out the Transcendence so they keep the rest of Fusion alive. Carpe actually took a lot of the damage at the same time after pulling the trigger on the Deadeye. Rascal finds Jinmu, and Jinmu has not been able to actually participate within this fight. Now the Gravitic Flux coming alive, and the Diva Bomb gonna meet that. It actually finds nobody, but instead it does buy in some of that space and actually allows Carpe to pop off in the backlines, not only finding Monk, but Fusion. Where was this on the initial defense right now? They've been able to find their footing, and they're completely stuffing the Hunters back.
Oh, but they're going to be grasping at straws in a second. Toby is 10% away from that rally, and he needs that online right this second. Jimmu, EMP, Transcendence. Vicious got the rally, Leaves got the Deadeye, Gaga's got the mines. Like, we're talking 5 ults against a rally here. Mano, maybe something big with the mines, but it looks like he's playing very defensively. He's going to have a hard time just diving anybody, especially if he's hacked as well. He does get stunned up as the mines engage.
And with that minefield, actually tries to stuff out that rotation coming alive from Hunters, but they utilize the Transcendence to keep themselves in this fight and also get right back onto the point. The rally now to keep the rest of Hunters alive. And Leave is going to try to utilize. Oh, EMP though, finding 3. That's going to be it for Alarm. And they were able to get onto the point. That's all they needed here, Jaws. And the Chengdu Hunters, they take map number 3 in the series.
Wow, what a smart positioning from Leave there, just hiding in the little bunker, hitting that dead eyes. Like, you have to come to us, you have to touch the point. If you don't touch the point, you're gonna lose. So, like, you have to walk into my deadeye. And then the EMP as well, as soon as they started trickling in, it looked almost impossible right there for the Hunters to actually lose that fight. 5 ults versus the rally in mines. Yeah, I'm not a mathematician, but it's looked in favor of the Hunters there. They do end up taking the map, and they're still in the series. Philadelphia Fusion still on match point, though. However, they can still win it. Next map could decide it all. We're going to jump to a break. We'll see you guys in a sec.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everyone. It's the Chengdu Hunters versus the Philadelphia Fusion, and currently the Hunters, they put themselves back on the board. They're not going to let themselves get taken out in a 3-0. Instead, though, the Fusion, they're still on match point, like you mentioned here, Jaws, and the Hunters are starting to finally build up some of that momentum after making some of those additional changes.
Yeah, it looks like they're making a small extra change here as well. By the looks of it, maybe Leave is taking a step back and Jimmy's coming in, but I'll have to confirm that in just a second. We are going on to King's Row yet again. And the Fusion, yeah, unfortunately they were stuffed at the very end. It was just all a matter of kind of ultimate economy and Gaga popping off. I said, Havana, okay, mate. Wasn't your best map, let's be real with ourselves here, but then he proved otherwise on Voskaya when he was able to find a pick off an Alarm, and he was just doing work as well on their first offense. He took out both healers almost instantly. There was like no support for them, it felt like. Like, Alarm went down, and, well, you're like, oh, Toby's like, oh, I need to go res him. He flies to him, goes for the res, and then guess who's waiting in the wings? Well, it's Gaga. And he managed to take him out. It's their worst enemy currently. Well, Alarm and Toby's worst enemy, at least. That is Gaga on the flank, on the ball. As we go to King's Row, though, again, there's a fair few things you can do. I just want to see Jimmu back on the Pharah, honestly. It's one, it's a wonder to see. Also, two, it can do wonders, at least if you can kind of control the point at the same time with a Wrecking Ball or a Diva. You can really punish the the Brawl style comps. However, with a small skybox and not too much kind of room to work with, can be a little bit more punishing. We'll have to wait and see, though. It does like Leave is actually back in the lobby, so I told you guys a little bit of a lie there. I would have been fairly shocked if we saw Jimmy and Jinmu at the same time, so Leave is just jumping back in. Kings Row is going to be a good one. My favorite map for sure. Philadelphia Fusion, though, one map away, Vicky, and they're going to take the series.
Yeah, and despite the Hunters taking that third map, the Fusion, despite also them getting immediately rolled on the defense initially for that first round, they still were really able to drain that time bank that the Hunters were able to build up for themselves on the assault. And currently, it's a lot of pressure going on forward for the Hunters. They finally see themselves back in this game. Hopefully, though, with some of those adjustments that they had to make, they could actually find a way to even up this series, because that'd be super exciting, especially seeing both of these teams face off against each other. It would be no surprise to me if we do see an even series overall, but that would have to trickle down to the Hunters if they do manage to take this map 4 on Kings Row.
Yeah, a 5-game series would be pretty spectacular, if I do say so myself. But of course, that does require Hunters to win this map here. Monk has been obviously pretty great recently, and Nisha too, in kind of supporting Jinmu, but they were a little bit quiet, it felt like. It was mainly on Gaga and a little bit of Leave too. I don't know about the Sombra on Carpe. Never really been one of his craziest heroes, you know. Carpe isn't really known for his Sombra, and it really didn't work out at all. So I'd be very surprised to see them go back to that. I think they go back to Ye Olde Faithful and just go Brawl for Kings Row. Looks like we are having Philadelphia Fusion start on the attack first, so we can see what Chengdu Hunters want to run on defense. It's going to be the same thing. I think, and something I mentioned actually yesterday was, I've been speaking to people like Fusions a lot and asking kind of what the meta is going to be like. This is prior to the season actually starting and how things are playing out in scrims. And he's saying like, look, a lot of maps are map dependent. A lot of kind of compositions are map dependent, but if there's a certain comp or a style that you like to play, playing that is normally the best bet. It's not like you go back to Double Shield or you go to Goats or something, you know, and you had to play those compositions because they were just the strongest thing around and there's no hope for you playing something else. There's a lot more variety this season, which has been fantastic. And in fact, something we mentioned yesterday too is the fact that every hero has been played, which is pretty awesome to see in the first couple of weeks as well, Vicky.
Yeah, that's actually what makes me so happy to see, because, you know, even though we briefly saw Hog and Bastion for a lick of time, it still that still makes a statement, though, overall, to state that this is a pretty interesting balanced meta that we've been seeing so far. And this positioning already to get onto the high ground to try to rotate off to the right side. Look at Mono. He wasted no time. He was like, I'm coming in, and I know you're going to fixate your attention on me. Meanwhile, here comes Carpe on the high ground. He has some of that sustainability, and Jinmu is keeping an eye on what's going on here, being able to retaliate some of that communications, but gotta watch out. He got detected, and Toby was looking for him at the same time. You saw Toby flailing around, and as they are going to approach and go right through, they find Gaga first, and that's a big pickoff, because that's going to allow the Fusion to get aggressive. They want to take full advantage of that pickoff, but now Hoppa has been demeched, and here comes Leave instead cleaning him up. Rascal takes care of Monk in the back lines, and that just leaves Nisha for that sustainability, but they're losing members, and they're losing them fast. Thanks to Alarm, actually, and these Discord orbs, they've actually been able to tack on so much damage.
Damn, how did Mono not die there? He's 2 HP. And you saw Jinmu kind of tracking him. Oh, what a clip from Rascal.
Wow.
Jesus, man. Good lord. Finished off Nisha quick, sharp. All right, nice point take here from the Philadelphia Fusion. That was super nice. So basically what happened there was Monk was left completely alone because Nisha was trying to pocket Leave. Big in a Leave, he actually copies it into a Diva, is getting chunked very low, demeched, and yeah, now you're going to get transformed straight back if you're not careful. Jinmu does take out Carpe, but with Gaga going down yet again, this looks almost unwinnable. Self-destruct gets launched out, Vicky.
Yeah, and being able to control that space, you see Fusion moving right back in, and they find Nisha. Monk, though, does have that nano boost coming alive, and also going to go for a quick reset with that mech.
He one-shot Rascal.
Wow, actually, Leave finding that pick-off right there. It looked really strange in the position, but Leave knew that that's where Rascal wanted to be to avoid that Diva Bomb, and now the minefields to control that space, and Carpe to clean up the point. Big anti-out to the support, but it doesn't even matter, because they do manage to get this payload moving.
Nice, nice. At least a little bit of a stall there. Let's have a look at what Carpe was doing. Oh, this is how Gaga got caught. Oh, the bubble. He kind of put it down when he was like mid-jump, so when he did actually land, the bubble wasn't even on top of him. That flashbang really did seal the deal, though, on that first that first fight. Ouchies. Yeah, like I was mentioning before, Monk was just left alone because Leave and Nisha were kind of dealing with Hopper. They didn't end up killing him, but with Monk dying like so early on and being Ana too, long walk back to the point, they can't even hold forward either because they were so staggered actually trying to contest the point 2 that they give up archway control completely, which means the majority of the Streets phase 2, of course they're already halfway through it. EMP though lands on 4, didn't see that one coming.
Oh, Jinmu was ready for it. He was in the back lines. Carpet gets antied. Big EMP, but no follow-up. Leaf actually falls through and forces out the res. Luckily, Nisha has the Valkyrie, but it may not be enough. At least the Primal helps that sustainability and allows Nisha to help fixate that attention on the rest of the team. They do find 2 picks, though, onto the Fusion to at least try to hold up and control this next corner for the choke point.
Not bad, not bad. Big EMP. I didn't see it coming, man. We were on the Fusion POV. I'm like, what's going to happen? Is Jinmu going to engage? Couldn't tell. He didn't engage. He hit 4 people with an EMP. It's not bad at all. Nice little high ground control here, actually, from the Hunters to make sure Mano has a little bit more of a difficult time. I really like Monk being up here because as well, the payload moving forward as the copy actually comes through.
Leaf loving that duplicate on the Diva too, just trying to build into a Diva bomb. Unfortunately though, he's getting pressured a lot. Luckily though, he's got some of that sustainability coming in from Nisha.
There's two defense matrices on the team, by the way, and they can't defense matrix Jinmu. That's super unlucky, actually.
Oh, Jinmu's out, and the Diva bomb to control some of that space. Alarm has that Transcendence coming forward, and Monk is going to go down with that Nano boost. Coming in though, Monk is gone, and the ultimates are coming alive from the Fusion. The minefields to control that space, and Carpe's going to clean up the point roll quicker on Elsa after getting demacked. And the Fusion now are going to try to take this payload all the way to the second point, whereas you have the Hunters trying to regroup.
Oh man, this feels like a bit of a roll. Gargas wins. Oh,
okay.
Why are you challenging? Well, I guess you're not really challenging Carpe, but Carpe's challenging you, forcing the fight. Gargas switched back to the ball. I think this is good. His monkey a little bit uninspirational, uninspired there. So I'm glad he's back on the wrecking ball. A lot more environmental kills you can find here as well. Nice kill onto Toby too. So that early kill onto Jinmu from Carpe doesn't really mean anything now. Maybe an extra couple of meters on the payload, but that is just about it.
I like Leave now, trying to attack on this extra pressure in the back. Does go for a reposition. Is getting bucketed though at the same time by Nisha, who has that Valkyrie. Hoppa gets hacked and almost demacked at the same time. So there, but Alarm and Toby, they're at the ready and at the helmet helping out Hoppa. The pulse bomb does find that demack, and Elsa gets that reset with the Diva bomb. Doesn't find anybody. Luckily, the Fusion, they managed to rotate immediately out of that situation, and Carpe's trying to get into position as he's about to get that Deadeye very soon, and the rally to keep the rest of the Fusion to come in and allow themselves to get a lot more aggressive. But the disengage immediately from the Hunters, recognizing the situation so that way they don't find themselves giving more space over to Fusion after finding that pick off of Rascal. Now they're going to be able to go all in. They found that first pick, and they knew that they could get aggressive. Big anti onto Toby and Carpe, and finally managing to demech Hoppa here. Alarm is going to hold on to this Transcendence before they round the corner next, and the Hunters now buy some of that time away.
I really like the positioning there from the Fusion. They knew the health pack was hacked by Jinmu, so they kind of just forced the issue and forced their way through. Jinmu was trying to like control it and make sure he can jump back to it and get the health, but they put the Brig and the Kree and even the Diva there too. Rascal gets killed. That's super unlucky. But they put 3 people on it to make sure the rest of the Hunters couldn't actually utilize that additional health that it does create. Of course, it does respawn faster when it is hacked as well. That's why it's so valuable taking these mega packs away, especially from the offense. But it was a really nice effort to control. They pressed Q to win, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. 2 minutes remain though, Vicky. Leaves us have the Bob. A lot of ultimates online though, and the rally a little bit further away, but they engage with the mines first as Mano goes super low.
Yeah, he immediately dips out of that situation. Doesn't want any business. Big EMP finding 4, but not finding Alarm. So Alarm was able to pull the plug on the Transcendence. Fortunately for Rascal, he won't be in that fight. But despite that, Carpe is still here in this fight, and the rest of the tanks are still able to tack on this extra pressure. Just find that res onto Jinmu here from Nisha, and they're trying to build up into some of these next set of ultimates now, with Elsa calling right back into their mech and trying to build into that Diva bomb. Hoppa, though, does have it online. has that Discord orb on them, trying to tack on a lot of that damage, though. Alarm is trying to heal up Papa after getting hacked in the back, and here comes Carpe. No one's focused down. He's trying to go in for this pressure on the back line. He does get contested at the same time by Monk, but Elsa's gone, and Nisha's Valkyrie's trying to keep the rest of Hunters alive. Mono gets hacked, and this is Fusion falling through. It looked like they had a great strong start here, but Hunter's positioning actually forced the Fusion to try to contest them on that open ground with no way of trying to rotate around behind them. Overall, I really like the way they just played that, because now they were playing extremely passively aggressive there.
Yeah. I mean, Leave is also having just a fantastic game on the Ashe too. Like, the amount of damage he's doing, especially to Mano as soon as he jumps in, he's instantly discorded. Leave focuses all his attention on the Wrecking Ball to make sure Mano can't disrupt the backline or even just get onto anybody. It's pretty tough too to swing through that small little gap. Well, at least Rascal took him out, but Nisha's right back there with the res. Rascal's got the copy. 20 seconds remain though, as Leave reses with Bob in tow.
Yeah, managing to keep Leave back into the fight. Immediately gets deleted though. Carpe sending him right back in. Yeah, keeping Rascal and booting him off. Jinmu now has the EMP to come right back in and stop Fusion in their boots. Currently, though, the Bob isn't around anymore, and the Transcendence instead to keep the rest of the Hunters alive. And big EMP once again coming alive from Jinmu. He sacrifices himself, but for a good reason. Carpe and Rascal are now out. That's the DPS lineup of the Fusion gone, as well as their time bank. Overtime coming alive. They're losing members, though. Hunters, they're taking a lot of that damage, but the Gravitic Flux could actually make it or break it here, especially with Alarm now going down. It's a matter of cleaning up the point right now. Jaws with the Hunters desperately making some swaps over to make sure that they can solve this defense.
Res? No one's peeking him. Oh, he did. He got back up.
Oh, he's back in here. He's actually managing to help out sustain the rest of the Hunters, and the Bastion pick over to the Leaf.
Whee!
I love how we're just talking about this right now, just for like a time, but it's about making a statement and making sure that you solidified this point.
Yeah, okay, so you jump on the Bastion there right at the very end to just guarantee yourself something because everybody's so focused on the payload. Man, that resurrection from Nisha, if Gaga didn't peek him there, I think I would have screamed and he would have screamed. But that resurrection was so clutch. Like, you just gliding down, no one can basically hit him either. They have to forcibly go near the edge to try and shoot down at him. And if they go near the edge, they're at risk of getting booped or like something happening to force them into the pit, either by a Diva or even maybe a Lucio if that came out as well. Like, it's way too dangerous to kind of go for something like that, especially when it's an OT, when your mind is so focused on the payload. Getting that res onto Gaga, stalling for time, and then the Bastion coming back too. Wow, that was perfect. And yeah, you mentioned it right in the middle of that fight. Those EMPs from Jinmu are so
insane. Good
every single time he is catching 4 people. And it is a little bit easier, mind you, because of the very close-knit nature that Last of Kings Row is. At the end of the day, you're going to hit at least a couple of people, but he's hitting tanks and he's hitting supports, and that's the main thing. Here's the resurrection as well. Look at this. Floats down.
I love it.
And Gaga picks him. He knows exactly what to do. And getting that res up, like I said, is just stalling for so much additional time. Like, you don't have to wait for overtime respawns to come through. Gaga can just spin to win around the payload. Like, perfect defense there on the very ending of Kings Row for the Hunters. We'll see what the Philadelphia Fusion could do now. Setting up a little bunker. Oh, Alarm says hello to Carpe. As the Hunters do TP forwards, and it's up to Leave and Gaga now to set up these dives. Like I said, I'm happy Gaga's back on the ball. It's been working out wonders for the Monkey. Not as much.
Yeah, I also like the fact that Nisha's been really able to help enable Gaga, and now also is going to be able to enable Jinmu here, who's trying to pressure up this high ground. Gaga took a lot of that damage over there, but the Fusion, the way that they're positioned here is to prevent Jinmu from being able to get a lot more of that damage taken out. Instead, Jinmu's the one that's taking on a lot of that damage. So is Gaga and Elsa, and there's only so much healing that you could do, especially with both of your tanks being so low. The anti onto Nisha and Leave, though, can they clean out around Nisha? They can't, and they do back up so that way they could wait for Elsa.
It's really nice that they are running Elsa on the Zarya here, just kind of aiding in the dive so he can bubble, and now he switches to the Diva. There's pros and cons for both. I mean, with the bubble too, you can also make sure Jinmu stays alive in the air, using bubble on him if he gets attacked by Carpe or even Alarm for that matter. He's still going to be able to play fairly far forward. Elsa can bait them in the defense matrix. 3 people on the point though, or 2, sorry. And a hack onto Mano. That's not good news, but Carpe's going to get landed. Oh my god! Instant headshot, instant kill. Make that 2 as Nisha goes down as well.
Our call it Govex right here. Carpe, he's been practicing and he's showing you what he's all about. Question mark potential future MVP, I don't know. I mean, Carpe right now, he's been absolutely popping up. He's got the Deadeye at the ready, trying to get some of that revenge here, Jaws, over the Hunters, who they're able to actually hold them before they got to that third point.
I said, any DPS you're going to nano in the league is probably going to be Carpe, especially when he's on the creep. He one-shot Jinmu, he one-shot Nisha. Like, there is nothing more you could really ask for. He has activated the Deadeye fairly early, though.
I'm probably trying to control his space. I mean, it looks right here, after this engagement, Gaga will have the minefields to go right back in, control some of that space. Jinmu now is going to get the retaliation. They stun him, they immediately knew what he's up to, especially since he's nano boosted. He has that rocket barrage at the ready. Hoppa gets hacked over to the back. Despite that, he still finds Alarm. He gets close enough to make sure Alarm is out of that situation, but Carpe finds him too. Unfortunately, though, he gets res to get right back into this fight, leaving things up to Carpe, Mono, and Hoppa, but Carpe falls through thanks to Jinmu coming back into this fight. And despite Carpe getting quick pop-off, Jinmu comes right back in to at least clear this point to allow the rest of Hunters to get this payload moving.
That was super nice resurrection from Nisha. He was actually in ult too, so of course he was gaining HP as he was just existing. It's going to be a re-engage though. Toby's actually going to pop the rally for this.
Well, they're not giving this up easily. Despite Hoppa falling through, Alarm now is going to use
Nano Carpe.
The Nano Boost currently, and here comes Carpe. He still finds Nisha and leave. What did you say again, Jaws? You only have to put him to sleep. He's too powerful when he's left awake, and they had to give him a quick nap before they decide to re-engage onto this point. Rascal's still finding picks though onto Jinmu. Tracer far up in the air, and Rascal's still finding these picks. Here comes Mono with the follow.
This could be a full. This could be a full hold.
I cannot believe what I'm seeing right here. The Hunters literally, look how close they were to getting this payload out of the garage, but the Fusion just said, no, you're not allowed.
The Carpe says, no, you're not allowed. Alarms, nanos in, boom, finds 2 kills instantly. And like you said, the only thing they could do is put him to sleep. And they did do that, but look at the investment of resources that they had to use. And then Rascal just comes in. Toby was staying alive as well on the sidelines, throwing out armor packs left, right, and center. This is disastrous now for the Hunters. They're going to run in with a grab with a nano, but I've still got to be careful though. Carpe's got the Deadeye.
Well, at least Leaf does find Rascal. Big anti onto Fusion right here. Finding Elsa, though, can make it or break it. Hoppa gets demeched at the same time, and that's Carpe falling through. Rascal's trying to make their way over quickly, but it may be too late here as the Hunters, they finally regain this point. They have to clean it up, or Amano who gets hacked, and Rascal has made his way back here. He's still waiting to tack on some of the time, but it's going to be too late. Just give it right here, because it's set up to overtime. They can finally get this payload moving.
All right, pretty nice, yeah. Mungo with a little cheeky sleep at the end there. Finally, they were able to do it. Also, a really intelligent use of the grab from Elsa. He knew he was in the firing line of Carpe using that Deadeye, so he just threw it out. Even if he catches one person, even if it's just Carpe, it's going to be good enough for them to follow up with an anti-nade, and then, of course, some additional damage to kind of finish the fight. Holding on to the grab there, you would have lost. 100%. You would have lost that point. You would have lost the series too. They are, of course, still fighting for their series life in this map, Vicky.
They are, and look at the way that Fusion is positioning themselves. Oh, with the shield
then
immediately.
Nano Carpe again.
Yeah, they do, and you already see Nisha utilizing the Valkyrie. He immediately gets focused down. The way that Hunters has now adapted onto making sure Carpe isn't a threat, it was super crucial there, because that could have been a grim situation, especially with their limited time bank. Currently have Jinmu, he has the EMP to hold it down, but doesn't even need to use it because the Fusion, they're falling through. They're finding themselves going right back to the spawn, and Gaga getting a little extra extension here, while he does have that minefield that they're ready to stop their rotation right back to this defensive on the point.
Oh man, okay, maybe that was a little bit too ambitious there from the Philadelphia Fusion. Nano and Carpe, as he goes for the flash fan the hammer onto Elsa, and then he gets instantly rocked. Just everything is flying towards him, including a Discord being applied. So that damage reduction from the Nano doesn't really mean a whole bunch. At least they're going to be able to recontest though, as they do use the rally to start the fight off.
Yeah, and the minefields too, giving some time to Mono to allow them to rotate right back in, create some of that space, but now Gaga's going to retaliate, and the Bob actually finds Toby. Big EMP onto Alarm now. That just leaves Alarm for the sustainability. It may not be enough right here. Carpe was alive briefly. He's still trying to utilize the Deadeye, and he got shut down for it. They at least take the second point after they clean things up around the Fusion, and will look to be a really scary first point where they didn't even look like they could get the payload moving, has now transformed into a situation where they could potentially see themselves pulling this payload to the finish line.
Carpe's pretty annoyed now. He's locked Widow to try and snipe people from afar. Brief pause, though, unfortunately. Of course, have to wait and see how this is going to turn out, but hopefully we'll get into... Yeah, seems like we're just going to quickly jump into a brief pause, guys. Hopefully we'll get it sorted in just a moment, but yeah, I mean, currently... Hunters with 2 minutes in the time bank, Vicky, in order to push it towards that third point.
Yeah, and when you see a pause like that, when the Hunters have finally got the ball moving, they finally have built up some of that momentum. They just took the second point. You may mention Carpe has swapped over to the Widow. It could put a little bit of a dent to these plans, but hopefully when they come right back into the game, they could just start the ball and get it rolling all over again. They're looking fantastic. Let's jump right back into the game, though. The action is starting up real soon.
Yeah, let's get back in. I think everybody's ready. Sounds like it. I'm just peeking over my monitor on the left. I'm looking at who's got ult. Elsa with the Flux, of course, with the Transcendence to back him up too. This is pretty dangerous. Carpe's going to be able to sit long range right at the back on the Widowmaker. Leave's going to have to be a little bit more careful, and same with Nisha. The only real thing right now is stopping that Flux is going to be a rock from Hotbird. That's the only thing that's really going to cancel it. The Brigitte not going to do anything when you're high up in the sky like that. And Carpe, maybe he clicks his head, but I doubt it. This Flux is going to be make or break now for the Hunters.
Time to see. Rascal has that pulse bomb at the ready. Tries to be a menace onto the backlines, and here comes Carpe setting up in position. Trying to get a line of sight here at the same time. You mentioned Carpe's angry. He's tired of this. And you already see him trying to find this pick off. If he could find Jinmu at least. Does find a hack onto Mono, and Mono's taking a lot of that damage. Rascal actually finding Jinmu, and Jinmu's gone out of this. Carpe was ready too. You saw him trying to line up to help support Rascal there. And the way that Mono's also taking a lot of that damage is going to be able to work into this Transcendence for Alarm.
Wow, okay. That fight ended as quickly as it started, it seems. Nisha just going for the resets. 1 minute does remain. Alarm is 30% away from that Transcendence. As soon as he gets that Trans, he needs to pop it when that Flux goes off. That, like I said, that is the big win condition right now for the Hunters, is getting that Flux on the supports of the Philadelphia Fusion. But Alarm's only 20% away now. They're going to have to make this quick, sharp. Oh, well, that's a good start.
And that's going to be their engagement right there, too, going all in. Gaga is going to be able to match his way all the way forward. And the Gravitic Flux now coming in from Elsa, like you made mention of, and Monk to help support him with the Transcendence here. The Valkyrie trying to keep the rest of Hunters alive. They do have that Bob to make it a 7th member of the team to hang out on that payload. Rascal is gone, but they traded for Gaga, who will be able to roll back in with the minefields themselves. The Bob is trying to keep the rest of Fusion back in the spawn. The EMP landing onto Mono and Hotba. Hotba's not in that fight. He got deleted immediately right afterwards.
But Alarm is just...
the follow-up...
Alarm's killing everybody.
Alarm is just managing to tack on so much pressure. He's still finding these picks over here with some of that sustainability from Toby. The supports, leave it to us. We're here, and we're here to make sure that this point won't get taken over to the end. Alarm, though, falls through. Monk making a statement here. Rascal's going to be able to come right back in with the pulse, but they waited long enough on that point to allow the rest of the Hunters to actually have to trickle in. They backed up a little bit, but we're having trades here going forward, Jaws. The Gravitic Flux now.
This could be it.
This could definitely be it right here, considering the fact that Alarm still has that pick. They clear out Elsa, and they're cleaning up the Hunters.
Oh, Philadelphia Fusion, they're going to do it. They force the Chengdu Hunters off of the payload. They end up taking the win and the series 3-1. The Philadelphia Fusion at the very end, off the back of Alarm and Carpe just cleaning house. Alarm stayed alive for so long. And he was clicking so many heads too. He killed Leap and was able to just force Nishu to go for that res, stopping the healing going on to anybody else in that fight. And then Carpe, of course, doing Carpe things on the Widow, sitting all the way back in near his spawn and just keep clicking heads. And at that point in time as well, you're trickling onto the point, Vicky. There's not really much you can do to try and, oh, we have to kill Alarm over here, but yeah, but Carpe's over here. You know, you have to pick one target and go for it, but then you have to also pay attention to the payload. What a ridiculous series from Philadelphia Fusion. They are cementing themselves to be one of the best in APAC region.
Absolutely. I would say this is the determining match, actually, between the Fusion and the Hunters that definitely solidified themselves in that #1 and #2 spot, and as well as the Philadelphia Fusion managing to solidify their placing in the May Melee tournament.
Oh boy, May Melee for the Fusion. I bet you fans are ringing bells at home. And Yeah, I just got word in my ear. Xfinity player of the match. I think you can already guess. Of course, it's your boy Carpe. There was no way he wasn't getting this one on the Widowmaker. But more importantly, on that Kree, getting those nanos time and time again. Just one hitting the Pharmacy duo over and over and over and over. There was nothing this man can't do.
Absolutely insane, especially managing to not only click heads so flawlessly, but that nano boost that really helped him shine at the same time, cleaning up those backlines and just being a threat. You notice how around the mid part of this map that they started focusing down Carpe. They were like, all right, this is definitely a problem, guys. They put him to sleep. They try to at least stunt his approach, but overall, there's a reason why Carpe is the MVP of the match here. And no surprise here, Jaws. I'm excited to see more of Carpe going on in the future.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I think everybody's excited to see that, to be honest here. I mean, those stats kind of speak for themselves, right? 60 limbs. Final blows, though, looking pretty impressive. 36. Crit hit accuracy, yeah, some of the time you are shooting ball, so that will be a little bit lower than you kind of expect, but absolute madman on almost any DPS you can put him on. Carpe, I mean, at the end of the day, you got him on your roster, you're never trading him out. I do remember a time, of course, back when he had to play Zarya. He wasn't at his peak, but it feels like Carpe is kind of cementing himself once again as one of the best players in the world.
Yeah, and you know, as we take a look at Carpe and the rest of the Philadelphia Fusion, I'm really excited to see more of what this team has to provide. But, you know, bold predictions presented by Pringles. I'm really excited to see what my hot take is currently, Jaws. I would say, you know what, this may not even be a hot take. I feel like a lot of people could agree. But I think Carpe is going to be the MVP of the year.
MVP of the year. This early, week 2. Okay.
I'm saying it right now.
That's pretty bold.
I'm saying it. He put in so much work last year that it's trickling into this season, and I'm really excited. Again, I mean, everybody is. You made mention of that, but I'm just excited to see more of what he's got. But that's my bold prediction for right now, at least.
Okay, maybe mine's not as bold. I would say Philadelphia Fusion wins May Melee.
Oh, okay. You know what? Okay.
Maybe bold
especially
for some,
with the way
maybe
they
not for others.
I like the way that they adapted around Hunters, because, you know, Hunters had a game plan that was working out so well for them, and then Fusion completely shut them down. And I think Havana actually is what really nailed that down for them in making that statement.
Oh, yeah, 100%. That Havana hold was absolutely perfect. You want to know how to full hold Havana? It's perfection, honestly. A little bit of a hiccup, of course, on Voskai Industries, but we all have those from time to time. But yeah, bold predictions presented by Pringles. Let us know yours, in fact. Of course, you can just tweet at us and at the Overwatch League. I'm enjoying reading some of your guys, because I know you have better opinions than us most of the time, or at least funnier ones, that is for sure.
Yeah, definitely tweet at us, guys. Your bold predictions presented by Pringles. And that's going to be the APAC region for us for the day, Jaws.
Yes, it will be. I believe we can sign off now. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Of course, there's plenty more Overwatch League action. You can check out our YouTube channel, which you're on right now, or on overwatchleague.com as well. But my name has been Jaws, and that has been Vicky, and thank you to all of the marvelous production staff as well behind the scenes. We will see you all very soon.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles. Stay in the game.